We are back with the next episode of the Irrelevant Podcast. We are on episode number 30. Wow, so
And
that's
you have a
like,
thousand subscribers now.
oh yeah, I know. I was like, yo, thank you everybody. I didn't like, I remember not even like a month ago or something, I had like not even 100. And when I got 100, I was like going crazy. But now with 1,000, I mean, I know it's not, you know, it's not anything like you don't get the plaque for or whatever. It's not anything like noteworthy, but I mean, I don't know. For like, I mean, I said I was gonna do YouTube, and I did it. I didn't necessarily do the things that I wanted to do originally, I guess, but it just kind of, I don't know. My channel just kind of became its own thing. I don't know.
Live your life, bro.
Right. Yeah, I'm living my life, and my channel I think is kind of reflective of that. It's a lot of mix of not just like the mixes I make. I'm sorry. It's like a variety of like just like it's opinion stuff, and then I do my mixes, which have actually become really popular. Um, I do other random stuff here and there, and I make my own music. I just think it's a good balance. I need to start because now I'm just doing like mix podcast. I gotta start doing something different.
Should
At some
upload
point.
another cover or a original piece on your classical.
Yeah, I was gonna. Speaking of that, I was gonna dabble around this weekend in bachata. I don't know if you know what that music is, right?
I don't think so.
It's if if I showed you a song, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's that music."
I feel like I'm like that with everything.
No, but I mean, like, there's so many Hispanics here. Like, you've definitely heard it at some point.
Probably.
Um, yeah, I kind of wanted to show you some at some point because it's a lot of it. Like the instrumentation, I think is really, really, really interesting, and they use a lot of those cool Spanishy scales, and like the actual guitars sound really nice in the music. Because like it kind of has like a that techno-y sound. Like it's very subtle, right? Like you can tell it's like new music, right? Like as in that it came out in the last like 10 years or whatever. But it just, I don't know. It still has this kind of like timeless thing to it because it has a lot of those like kind of Afro Caribbean bongo beats in it. It's really interesting genre of music.
You'd be down to check it out. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, and a lot of like the solos and stuff they do, and the um I don't know how you say like not riff because I don't some of these like musical terms in Latin music like I lack the terminology, so I guess like just the where it's like not the melody, but it's just the main guitar kind of thing playing. Like a lot of it, it sounds kind of like I said, it sounds really Spanishy, kind of like flamenco-y, and they use those same kind of like like touching minor chords and stuff like that, and they use those same kind of scales I use. So I thought to myself, I was like, oh wow, it wouldn't really be that difficult to play it. And obviously, like they use a bunch of like effects on it to sound more like echoey and stuff like that. So like I think I could I mean, I'm not saying like, oh it'd be easy, but I just think it'd be fun, I guess, because I think I could like sound good without um without it being that excruciatingly difficult. And it's like you know it's the Latin stuff that I love, um, and I could just be like, hey, this just but bachata backing track. Just I could do some cool kind of Spanish sounding improvisation on it.
Yeah, and if anything, it's just great to practice different styles and do challenging stuff and learn how to do effects. So, if anything, it just helps you out.
Yeah, because I'm sure like, do you have? I mean, I know you do. You mostly do prog metal, correct?
Well, no, I mean, it
Yeah,
depends. If
I
I'm
mean,
covering, I'll cover a lot of the songs, but a lot of the stuff that I just write in general is like slower, melodic, trippier. So I use a bunch of effects, or I just straight up play a melody. I don't really write too many metal riffs. If I do, it's just the slower stonery stuff, but not really faster. I do a couple, but not much.
When you're kind of just like like playing by yourself or just jamming, like you're just sitting down, relaxing, playing the guitar. What are you playing?
It depends. So lately I've been playing the classical just because I'm trying to learn a different style.
Yeah.
But on the electric, if I'm just sitting there and playing by myself, if I'm not writing something there, or if I'm not covering a song, I'll play like I'll try to practice faster styles.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll pretty much shred if I'm trying to just really practice.
Yeah, I my equivalent of shredding is like when I practice La Malagueña and I try to do it as fast as I can. Or I try to do the double um what is it called? Like the yeah, I try to do the legato at the top, so I do two plucks of the top string instead of just one.
Yeah. I mean, any of those kind of
Which you
styles are difficult to play cleanly.
yeah, I mean I'm working on it.
No, I know.
Yeah. And eventually I'm gonna get back into the general kind of prog metal kind of stuff,
Yeah.
practicing with the palm muting and the galloping and all that stuff. Because when I was getting onto that and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's once you get the hang of it, it's very intoxicating to play, and you just want to keep doing it over and over again, especially with the palm muting.
Yeah, dude, that was me when I learned how to play the flamenco rhythm. I was just I could play that forever. It's so fun.
I remember the first time you came in and you were trying to learn how to play guitar, and you're having us show you, the different styles or different ways to strum and slap and do the chords and all that. I remember when you very first started.
Yeah, I was pretty shit.
You came a long way.
I know. Well, I mean, I'm not like I say all the time. Like I don't really think I'm just kind of like I wouldn't say I'm a subpar guitar player. I'm probably just like par. Doesn't really go much further past that.
Well, everyone is until they just keep practicing. Like what? You've been playing consistently for maybe 2 years straight, a year straight?
Pretty much. I mean, like it's not like I don't play every day. It's pretty much like once, twice a week.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
the amount of
it's like
practice that you do, like if you just ramp it up, you'll just get better and better. So you haven't been playing for that
yeah,
long in all actuality.
right. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that long. True. It's like the concept. I think it's like the 10,000 hour rule or something like that.
You don't pay attention to that shit. Just play when you want to play
No,
and practice what you want to
what?
practice. Don't make it so rudimented where you don't want to do it anymore.
No, not like the time or whatever. I don't even know if that was the number, but like the actual number is irrelevant. It's just like the concept of like when you do something, like when you invest so much time with or without thinking about it, eventually like with like he gave examples. It was like the Beatles with just playing in clubs for so long, um
Right.
and countless other things like Bill Gates, like just because he had access to all the computers and he could just kind of just work on all of his stuff after school, and he just was doing that all the time, and but it's interesting because that book, which it's called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, it talks about success and like in different positions and stuff like that, and like why some people do better than other people. It's really interesting. And he compares like different peoples that immigrated to America and why some do better than others, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like like for example, like why the Jews do really well, and also like why the Italians eventually did well, and a bunch of other things, and why certain other groups don't necessarily work. It doesn't really work out for them. Um, yeah, it is interesting, and that was one of the things he talked about. How like Bill Gates had access to like like he had the perfect time, place, financial situation, like born it, like it just it like he like you can't be that good at something when you have to make ends meet, right? Because Bill Gates obviously did not have to make ends meet.
Yeah, unless you're naturally
Um,
talented.
Right, but all of the shit he was doing with the computers and the coding, like you just can't do that if you're working at McDonald's.
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously, you
It's
look at
just
most people that are
yeah.
highly successful. The majority of them had some sort of help, whether it was financially or mentally, or some resources that a lot of people don't have access to. But I mean, then again, everybody learns and works different. So if you don't have a natural talent for something, it just depends on what learning style is right for you, and that's really what determines what you'll be really good. Because most people think you just have to be naturally gifted to be successful, and it's not true at all.
No. It's part of it, sure, but I mean I'm a very big believer that everyone has talents. You either just haven't found them yet or you're doing the wrong things and like you're not trying, you know.
Yeah, that famous Dr. Seuss quote, or it was Einstein. I don't know why. I'm thinking it's either
Oh, really?
Einstein. It's either
Okay.
Einstein or Dr. Seuss. It's one of the two. It's like, judging a fish climbing a tree. It's gonna think it's dumb.
Oh. Oh yeah. I don't know what you're referring to specific, but yeah, I mean it's a similar idea, you know, because like I used to think like I wasn't good at anything, but then I'm like, you know, am I even like trying anything? No. Okay, yeah, all right, let me start trying
You're
new
waiting for
things
that
out.
Harry Potter moment of you're born special.
Yeah, no, and that's why it's really annoying because like movies and like entertainment and shit have like completely messed up our generation's heads of like how the world works, you know? In that sense where everyone thinks it's gonna be like the "you're a wizard, Harry" moment.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like, I mean, everyone wants their 15 seconds of fame because shit keeps getting shorter. Longevity just keeps going down. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just a firm believer. If you work hard at a lot of things, if there's not something exponentially getting held over your head, whether that's money or mental or time or whatever the case may be, you'll pretty much succeed at doing it
Yeah. 100% agree.
if you try.
Anyone can fucking do it. But what I mean by that is not anyone can do anything. Anyone can do what they were destined to do, right? Because that's determined by God. It's just we either don't know what it is yet, or we're just not trying, and we kind of know what it is, or maybe we do know what it is, or we're just don't really like you just like I say, you're just not trying.
I think a lot of people just lack ambition. I remember when we were talking about people being
Yeah,
broke,
that's a big thing.
people being
Yeah,
broke, and where I gave the example of people working in different restaurants. It's like they expect just by showing up every day and doing something, they'll automatically work their way up in life. It's like, no, you have to, like, obviously there's people that try and live paycheck to paycheck and they try to search for stuff and nothing works. That's different. But I feel like most people just expect shit to fall in their hands and then they'll just magically be good at it. It's like, no, you have to find what you're good at.
right. Yeah, like the Outliers book said a similar thing. He was like, practicing is not what you do once you get good; it's what makes you good.
Yeah, and I explain that to people all the time because the number one question I get asked all the time at the store, people ask me, how long does it take to get good at guitar? I'm not shitting you. I get asked
Exactly.
that every time.
Yeah,
It's just like,
I
it's
know.
just like, what a
Like,
stupid fucking question. It really is a dumb question. I tell them, well, it depends on how naturally talented you are versus how much time you spend practicing and how much time and effort you're willing to do this and how easily you get frustrated. I told them anybody can play music, anybody can get good. It just different people require different amount of times to practice to get good at something. Some people less, some people instantly, some people years. It just depends. And they don't like that answer. They want like a quantifiable amount of years and months. It's like, no, this is up to you. You're not gonna
right, 'cause
just
right. And I'm like, there's a billion different factors, and it's like all these different people. If you want to play guitar, just try, like figure it out. Because a lot of it is really just like your own personal experience. Like I have a similar sentiment with working out, right? Because a lot of people ask me, oh, how long did it take for this? How long did it take for that? And I could say this or that, or like, what about these foods? What should I be eating? And I'm like, okay, like because some people are I see studies that say this and I some studies say this and I'm like yeah like you can get a lot out of studies or like fitness YouTubers, but a lot of it really is just your own experience, right? And as long as you just have like you're just working those core exercises being squat, bench and deadlift, you're going like 3 times a week at least, and you're just generally just eating and like you kind of figure it out. You like obviously if your goal is not to be shredded and you're just eating, pretty good and you like it's really common sense, right?
Yeah.
What to eat and what not to eat. It's really not that hard. Like as long as you're doing that, consistently going to the gym over time and like you're doing progressive overload, you're going to change. Like it's going to come. It's not going to come instantly, and it's like and even when it comes, like there's gonna be days where where like you're not like the workout doesn't feel as you know endorphin inducing, I guess, or it's not as fun. Like you don't get that same pump, you don't look as nice, and it's like in the grand scheme of things, like that's and I'm sure you have the same thing with guitar. Like you had a day where it's just I didn't wasn't clicking, I didn't have the
All the time. It's at least weekly. And the
yeah.
same thing with the gym. Like I've been recently, the past 2 weeks I've been going, I feel like I've been regressing in progress. It's been frustrating, but exactly what you just said, I've been feeling recently.
I was feeling that too, but then it's just like it's really just keep going and just try to add more weight to the thing. Like that's it. What it is.
Yeah, and going back to the food thing, a lot of, I mean, obviously it's a science for a reason. Most people don't realize you have to eat, different like protein. Fuck, oh my God, I can't think straight tonight. Pretty much like your people have different metabolisms, right? So they require different
Yeah.
types of food, and some people might not digest one food. I'm not even gonna pretend like I fucking know dietary shit. I just know that people are very individual when it comes to food. So obviously, if you don't eat shit like tons of sugar and carbs all the time, and you don't fucking drink all the goddamn time, because people don't realize how much drinking really fucks with you.
It really does. That's like the like drinking after you work out is like probably like the worst thing you could
Yeah,
do.
especially beer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
But yeah, that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Because it's like that's why I'm like you kind of just have to like do trial and error, and you could figure it out on your own. Like you can follow any of these like diet programs, any of these programs. It's really only gonna get you. I mean, like if you follow it, will it work? Yeah, but are you really gonna stick to it? I don't think you are. Because no one can really like no one's a robot, right?
well, yeah, and that's the one thing like people have to understand is you can't just like you can't go on a diet or you can't change your diet to something extreme. It's not sustainable in the long term. So
No, it never
even
works.
if I don't go to the gym for a week straight, I still am eating vegetables and fruit and chicken pretty much every day. I don't drink barely. I don't drink soda. I don't drink coffee. I don't smoke. So, I don't put myself in a situation where, I go a month of eating clean and I have a hankering just to eat a bunch of bullshit all the time because that's just what your normal diet is. Like just change your normal diet to something reasonable and, splurge scarcely. Like, do it once a week or when you go out on the weekends, but during the week just be disciplined to not eat garbage.
Yeah, really, and it's like because my diet, I don't know like how well it works for other people, but I'm sure it would because like what I eat mostly, and it's also really cheap too. It's just ground turkey that I get for like $3 to $5, which it's so much meat, right? And it's like covers 2 meals. Just cook that with some olive oil and some like random seasonings, and I put that in tortillas and I make myself like these ground turkey tacos.
Yeah.
Um, so I do that, and then I eat a lot of Ezekiel bread, peanut butter, and hummus. And then on top of that, I'll eat my protein items, right? So I'll have like my shake or like and like my bar, and that's really it,
Yeah.
right? Monday through Friday, essentially the same thing every day.
People
Um,
people just think it takes too much time to do it. It's like you literally just pick one day and do 2 hours to meal prep. I literally go to fucking Lidl
it's
or Walmart and I fill 2 bags of groceries that I need for the week. I'll get like thin breast chicken. It takes 20 minutes to cook that in the fucking oven. I'll make 5 sandwiches, and that's my lunch for the fucking week. And then I have like nuts and cucumbers and avocados and other shit I don't have to prep. I just have to bring it with me in the bag, and there you go. I have my meals planned out in 2 hours or less. It's just,
Yeah. Dude, I don't think we've ever agreed on like anything more
it's not
than
difficult,
this.
especially if you're a fucking adult.
I
Like,
know.
I
I'm
work
like,
full time.
what?
I feel tired on the weekends. That's why when I'm full of energy, I take the time to prep. Because then, dude, I coast through the week. I don't even have like sometimes I don't even have to worry about dinner because I'll cook dinner with my girlfriend at her house. So dinner is not really too
Yeah.
much of a problem for me. But dude, like lunches and breakfasts they're all set for the week. I just have to take a couple hours one day to do them, and then I don't have to worry about it for a whole week. It's very simple.
Like for me, I just like every day during the week when I come home from work, I immediately I just cook my turkey, right?
Yeah.
And that just kind of because like you just got to get over that slump, right, from like the post lunch coming home from work or school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like the way I fix that, is I'm just like, nope, I gotta cook my turkey, and that just gets me in that mood. Like, all right, because I go to the gym right after, but that just kind of kickstarts that like, yeah, gotta meal prep, gotta go to the gym, there's things gotta do, right?
Yeah. Everybody
Um,
has time. You're forced to eat. You can't not do it. And so you have the choice of spending more money for shit that's worse off for you, even though it's slightly more convenient, but like you still take the time to go grab it. You're just too lazy to fucking make something. Like, yeah, I'm tired when I'm making shit, but then I feel better after I fucking eat.
right, exactly.
God.
Like
You'll feel
there is
better
a
in 10 minutes. Just
satisfaction
do the
to
fucking time.
yeah, there's a satisfaction to cooking things
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
And yeah, there's days
You
I
know,
don't feel like fucking cooking, and then those days I
well,
just don't do it.
obviously, yeah.
It's just not like but if you do that every day, like fuck.
Yeah, or like sometimes there's a day at work, where or like I had a day, I really didn't have time to cook my turkey for the next day.
Yeah.
So then the next day, I'm just like, all right, I'll have Chipotle this one time, because I don't go to Chipotle 5 of the 5 days,
Yeah.
which when you literally calculate that, that's like $100 a week.
Yeah, it's insane how expensive it can get, and people are just clueless
Right.
about that. Dude, I was in the sauna at the gym. I did. I don't know. I should talk about this more on here. Every time I'm in the sauna, I always have these dumb ass conversations with people that I'm forced into a
I know.
conversation. It's so goddamn. It's always like hype beasts too, or people that want to start their own crypto business or just some sort of fucking thing like that. They're always just curly hair, 100 on the grind all the time. And I was talking to this one guy, and I was drinking the alkaline water, and he was like, "Yo, can I ask you a question? Do you like that water?" And I'm like, "It tastes like water." I literally said that to him. He's like, "Yeah, but it's alkaline. Do you feel the benefits from it?" And I'm like, "How can you really tell? It's fucking water." I don't fucking know. And then we started getting into some conversation. I don't know how I just get sucked into this fucking bullshit. And he was like, "What are your goals?" I'm like, "I don't really have any goals. I kind of do this for stress relief." He's like, "Bro, I'm trying to get swole," and he's like shorter than me, and he's a little bit heavier set, so it's gonna take him a very long time to get what he wants. He wants to be like lean and shredded, and it's just like with your body type, it's not gonna happen, no matter how much work. And I was like, "Cool, man. How many days do you go?" He's like, "Do I go 5 days a week? I'm grinding in the gym." I'm like, "Well, what are you eating?" And he was like, "Dude, to be honest with you, I don't eat that good." I'm like, "Well, there's your problem."
Yeah, right. No, and he just says it like kind of, yeah, actually, like I don't, and it's like, yeah, you just said it.
Yeah, it's like you can go 7 days a week, and if you sleep like shit, it'll fucking reverse all of it. Like, God, unless you have the body type. If you have a fast metabolism, that's different, and that slows down when you age. But if you're already heavy and it's very difficult for you to stay in shape, then you eating like shit is gonna you might as well not even go to the gym.
Oh yeah, right. Unless you're actually lifting heavy weights.
Yeah, but if you're like you can lift all the heavy weights you want, if you still eat like shit, it's not gonna really matter. If you want to
Like
get
I
lean
know,
and
but like,
shredded, if you don't want to look like a
right,
croissant.
right. No, if you want to be lean and shredded, that's different.
Yeah.
But like some people, all they want is they just want to lift like they just want to see the number go up, and that's all they care about, right? So like they don't really mind being like like at a higher body fat percentage. But in this case, this guy doesn't want that.
Well, it's like people don't
um,
understand body types. It's like you look at UFC fighters. The UFC fighter that trains every fucking day, does this for a living, always constantly in the gym, always lifting heavy weights, always doing cardio, but like he doesn't really look like he's that shredded. He kind of looks like a normal body. Like people just have that kind of body. Like it doesn't matter how much you try it, it's not gonna change.
I know, but also, yeah, that because that's the thing, right? Like, there's certain things like that's just kind of how God made you, and you just can't really, yeah, right. Like, you just can't change it.
Yeah, you're doing it for your health. It's the same thing for me. Like my arms are really skinny and they'll kind of fill out a little bit, but I swear to God, I can probably I can probably bicep curl 200 pounds and my arms will never like look any bigger ever. It's just gonna be like, oh, I'll have more muscle look to it, but it'll never like grow bigger. If you get what I'm saying.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
It's like when I flex, it looks you can actually see muscle and shit, but it's never gonna fill out like I wanted to. So that's why
Yeah.
it's just a stress reliever.
Oh yeah, sure. This is therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um. They But yeah, I remember like when you said just like when the guy was like, "How long does it like take to play guitar?" I'm just like, okay, what kind of music do you want to play?
Exactly. It's
How
the
like
first question.
how right, like how actually are you trying to actually play in front of a live audience? Are you just trying to play for yourself, right? Because like me, right, I'm not like super grinding on the guitar because like I'm not trying to play for anybody, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like playing because it's just like it's like you at the gym, right? It's just relaxing. Like I don't have. I mean, I guess maybe it's not a good thing that I don't have like I guess like really set like this is what I want on the guitar. Just it just kind of happens to me on the guitar. I'm just like, oh yeah, let me just kind of see how I play that, and I'll
Here,
just learn that. Or
he-
like,
sorry, I
what's up?
mean, I was say here's the kicker though. Like, it doesn't fucking matter because you're not doing it for a job. You're doing it for a hobby. Like, you can either choose to progress or
Right,
just do it for
exactly.
fun. Who gives a fuck?
Right, exactly. Like we have this idea in our society that like we have to like be in like the NFL
Yeah.
level of not just football, but like to be fulfilled, like you have to be in the NFL. I'm like, dude, like can we just have recreational activities?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why, or just like people that like they go to the gym and like they got goals and stuff, but people are, no, you're not going hard enough. And I'm like, bro, if that's not their job, if that's not literally their number one most passionate thing, and it's just something like, yeah, I like the people there at the gym. It's like, why do you have to? I don't know.
It's frustrating to talk with people and going back to the music thing. Like, you're right. That's the first question that I asked them. Besides, after talking about all the time and practice and all that, is what kind of music do you want to play? People don't even know. They'll be like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, well, what do you listen to?
And just guitar music.
Yeah, and it's just like they can't give me a specific answer, and they have to follow up with like, oh, I'm just I'm just learning, I'm just a beginner. Like I get that. Like I don't. It's fine that you're a beginner, but you're not giving me anything to go off of. And then I feel like what? Give me something to work with here. And then half the time they don't even know what they want to play. Like they don't know what a bass sounds like, they don't know what acoustic sounds like or an electric sounds like, and they just have something set in their mind, but they don't want to say it. And it's either because they feel intimidated or they just genuinely don't know. But people do that bullshit where they'll just like they don't know anything, but they have something specific in their head, but they don't know how to communicate it, and so they'll just give a vague
Yeah,
answer, then they'll
yeah.
follow up with, "But I don't really know." It's like it's like I don't
It
care if
doesn't
people
help
are
me either
beginners.
way.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not shitting on beginners because I that's part of my job is helping people get accustomed, and I like knowledge and I like learning and teaching things. Like that's fine, but just like people go out of their way to present an image of themselves, and it's just like it's fine if you don't know or know something, but just fucking say it. Like, or they're embarrassed to tell me what kind of music they want to play. That's the funniest one.
Right. Yeah, because like I said, it's like you don't. It doesn't. It's not helping me because I need to help you, but you need to know what you actually want.
Because unlike the people
Yeah.
that work at Guitar Center, I'm not just going to give you an answer blankly because I want to sell you something because I don't actually know. Like, I will try to actually get you something that you would actually use in practice and enjoy. It's the whole point.
Yeah, you guys got that for me.
Exactly. It's very simple if you follow the rules and just give in.
Yeah.
Just give up your ego.
Yeah. Submit to the will of God.
So
Yeah, but it bro, it's the same thing for languages because people are like, how long did it take you to learn Spanish? I'm like, okay, like, what do you mean? Like, because there's like a bajillion different things you can do with a language, right? Because it's like, do you mean read it, write it, speak it, understand it, like be able to read newspapers, be able to listen to shows without subtitle, like like be able to listen to music and understand it, be able to read poetry, be able to give a speech, be able to take directions in like a in a work environment. Are you able to use it in like customer service? Like there's a billion different things you could do. Like it's not like I speak or I don't speak, or I'm fit and I'm not fit, or I play guitar or I don't play guitar. It's like there's so many layers to that.
To me, when I ask that or when I hear that, I think, how long did it take you to learn a language? To me, that means that you're fluent in it and can communicate with other people. That's what it means to me, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even so though, like even if you speak a language with like fluidity, so to speak, there's still gonna be things here and there that like you don't really you might forget how to say it or something like that, or
Well, I feel that way in
you
English
know
too. It's not that never goes away.
no, but like things that would cause like a person of that speaker to know that you are not a native speaker of that language.
Yeah.
Because like you're just never, because you weren't born with it, you're never fully like 100% gonna have that, like, boundaries are broken. Like I broke the language, but like it, I mean, you can get super close, like I have with Spanish, but like there's still some things where I'm just like, wait, what'd you say? Or like I might say something and they're like, wait, what? That's not how you say it. I'm like, oh, sorry.
I don't know. I mean,
um
yeah, it is kind of annoying to answer those kind of questions because, I mean, I have enough context to know no matter if it's something is difficult to do, no matter what it is, music, language, engineering, whatever the fuck, right? It's not a simple answer as how long did it take. Like, it's not that simple, really, in anything.
right, I know. How long did it take you to do a podcast?
How long did it take you to
I don't know,
walk?
like,
How long did it take you to learn to walk?
right, like that's a fantastic example. Yeah, how long did it take you to like start speaking? I don't know.
Yeah,
Just like because when you're a baby, you just kind of, I don't know, you just do it.
yeah. I don't. I don't really
Oh,
get too. It's whatever. I just think it's funny that people have an expectation of an answer that fits their narrative in their head. It's just like, sorry to disappoint.
yeah, I know. Um, yeah, there has to be something I can buy, then I'll have it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Like,
it's attainable
right there,
very quickly. It's like, no, it's not.
right. Like there has to be a thing where if I buy it, then my goal is met.
Yeah, and I
Right.
think that's
Then I
just
don't have to.
a sign of the times because people don't have attention spans anymore because of fucking all the stimuli around us. So I can't imagine people wanting to have a long term goal. They can't even do like daily activities are stressful to people. People can't even do their fucking laundry without freaking out.
I sometimes struggle with that
Doing your laundry?
from time to time because like my mom, we kind of go back and forth. Like sometimes I do it, sometimes my mom does it, and then like dishes too. It's like sometimes I do it, sometimes she does it.
Okay, so I guess
No, I mean,
I live on my own, and
not well.
mine is more
That's
frustrating because I
different. Yeah.
actually have to like there's fucking a family and another guy that has to do laundry, so I actually have to coordinate a day to do the goddamn laundry, and I still fucking can get it done.
Oh, I got you.
It's
Well,
really
okay. I
fucking
guess
irritating.
if I was living on my own, I wouldn't have any problem doing it.
It's because you have to
Um,
deal with your family.
well, not just that, but it also just like my there's just certain things that my mom like just does, right?
I see.
So like I'm not gonna ask her to not do my laundry. That doesn't really work like that,
I see.
right?
Yeah. At least you have that
Um,
luxury.
exactly. Um, so I think after half an hour of introduction,
That's right.
um, yeah, I know. I'm like, did we forget? No, we did not. I think we should talk about your recommendation.
Yep. So I recommended to William The Hunter by Mastodon. And I chose this one because, in my opinion, there are various different albums that I feel like are better than this one, but I chose it specifically because among the fans, this is their most hated album. People just do not like this one from Mastodon, and the biggest reason is because this is the first album where they kind of did a genre style shift. They started doing less of the heavy stuff, and they went a little bit softer and more melodic and more poppy. And so this was that first album into that crossover. So that's why a lot of people don't like it. So that's why I was very curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, initially when I listened to this morning, I was like, this is like just not it. Um, like the first three songs, I was like, it was just a resounding eh. But actually, going back and listening to it, I think Black Tongue is a pretty good song.
Blacktown is a great song, yeah. And that's the thing I was gonna say. There's majority of the songs on this album I don't like. And there are some songs like I love the melodies and the parts in the songs, but I don't like the song as a whole. But there's a couple songs on here that I fucking really love.
Yeah, like there was some. I think it was like Stargasm and Drybone Valley. I was like, that's the Mastodon I know. When those songs came on, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
there we go, that's Mastodon. But then a lot of the songs, like Octopus Has No Friends, like
Yeah.
Creature Lives, I was like, this is just eh.
Yeah, those two are
I mean, it's
and that's kind of the biggest complaints that people have is those two songs in particular is the epitome of what I'm talking about. It's like a total style shift for them.
yeah, because I was like, why did they start sounding like some like kind of how do you say like some like bohemian kind of like 80s rock band? I don't
Yeah,
know.
they go more traditional pop rock kind of.
Yeah, because I was like, because that style is not necessarily bad per se,
Yeah.
right? But it just mixed in with all of those really good songs, they like that. That's the thing. It's just kind of a mixed bag, right? So then when you have those kind of bohemian songs mixed with the really good prog metal stuff, it just kind of made no sense to me.
Yeah, as an album this stuff doesn't really make sense, but I think oh, great. So like the third song, The Hunter, the intro is one of my favorite intros that they've done. Is I love that really weird
I
melody that they do.
I meant to say that the intro for that, the Hunter, and also for the Sparrow,
Yeah,
that was a great intro.
the Sparrow is really fun to play on a classical guitar. Like the way you finger
I
pick it,
bet.
it sounds really pretty. So yeah, the Sparrow and the Hunter, great intros to the songs and great melodies. But sometimes the song kind of gets lost in itself. But there's some heavier stuff too, like Spectralite. I like Spectralite a lot.
I don't I don't remember that one.
That was the faster
I
one.
uh, don't remember it. Sorry. I liked Carl of the Burl.
That's
That
a
was
great
like
song. I love that's like
like
the catchiest song they've ever written.
right, like I said, like initially, I don't know if it was maybe the time or place or something, because it's interesting though, right? So like all of my Spanish and Portuguese like Latin music, that's my productive. Like I'm driving in the van doing deliveries in the morning, like that's my music I'm listening. But like Mastodon, right, is the music I'm listening to in my room, relaxing with my headphones on. It's the complete opposite of what it should be, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the one thing I kind of have to take into account is with a band like them, they do a lot of stuff that's like hit and miss, right? Because they take very like this
Okay.
is just the nature when you do experimental styles of music like prog, you're going to do stuff stepping out of the bounds that just kind of doesn't work, but also sort of works. So, that's the one thing I do respect like even like if you do something that
Yeah, it's
doesn't
not a
work,
fail.
you take
Uh-huh.
risks. Like it's a very big risk to do this in music because if you have albums that people don't like, it could kill your career.
Yeah, what's
But
a like Metallica or something like that, you know?
yeah, like they'll never live down Saint Anger. Like that's just forever gonna be embodied.
I know, because like Metallica kind of has this like lower brow the
That's more
aspect
because
to
of the
them, you know?
fans.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. I
Yeah,
don't know how their fans are, but
I
no,
mean
but
most
also
metal
like
people
just
in
the
general
actual.
just fucking. Ugh.
Oh, sure, but would you would agree with me though? I mean, I love Metallica, but they kind of have more of like a lower brow, like, you guys aren't as good.
I mean, in comparison to the band, like The only reason why, and I've said this before, and it's kind of a stupid take to have because you can make that argument about any band, but if they weren't the starting band that like pioneered this style of genre, I mean obviously there's other bands in their circle that did too, but Metallica's the largest of them. So like if let's say it was a like Metallica never came out and it was just Slayer, Anthrax, Pantera, you know,
Megadeth, baby.
Megadeth, all the other ones, and then Metallica came out like 10 years ago, they would definitely not be as popular or as big. And you can literally make that argument about any band because, you know, coming out in the right time is a major part of it as well. But if you're just
You can
going
make
based
the
off of the
case.
music itself, it definitely wouldn't hold its weight. But like
You
I
can
said,
make
they
the
also
case.
pioneered a lot of the shit, and a lot of their riffs are original. A lot of people emulate the style of Metallica riffs. So in that respect, you know, they're not lowbrow in just the style that they popularize, as opposed to their lyrics and you know the way that they structure the song. I'm talking about just their riffs in general are pretty creative.
I got you.
But
Yeah.
with a band like Mastodon, I always have to think because when you listen to Crack the Sky and then you listen to this album, it really is just no comparison.
Right, or even the Blood Mountain. That was
Yeah.
also like just fantastic. But another hugely disappointing aspect of this album is the actual cover art. It's so bad.
I like the cover. I'll defend. I love the cover art. I like it.
No, like
What do you not like
I
about
don't
it?
like I don't like the font of Mastodon. I don't like the way that it looks, of
Mm.
the name. It just looks like a weird like video game cartoon kind of. It just like like those really like it looks like some art style you'd see in like a commercial. I
You
don't
know
know.
they actually carved that out of wood and use it like it's not a painting, like it's a legitimate thing they made. Well, not the band, but
That's
whoever made it.
that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
But they could have made it look cooler.
Yeah, compared to
Like
their other album covers, it's kind of the weakest one.
right, like there's nothing I don't because like the other ones there's like a setting you can clearly like there's such an atmosphere and like you could literally turn like you can see that there's a whole world outside of just the album cover, right? Within the album cover. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
Um
totally.
right, but like with this one, the only thing there is just that image. And it just falls flat because like the background is just they're kind of going for the minimalist thing, but they don't really do that because then they have all of those like outline things fading out of the head. It just I don't know. And then it has like the hunter in the corner, which I don't really know why. It looks like just some like logo that I don't know.
I'm just going strictly. I just like think the head look is cool, but yeah, it's definitely not. And that's what's kind of want to say is like when you compare it to their other albums, just also in the art style and in the music, it just doesn't compare. But you know, if it's an album on its own from another band, I'd say it's pretty good. But
Yeah, but I'm saying like by Mastodon standards,
no,
like
and that's why it's their least liked album, or people think it's their worst album. Not even the least liked. Like
yeah,
people just think it's a bad album in general.
I wouldn't say it's a bad album. I wouldn't go that far. Initially, like when I was first listening to it, I was like, yeah, this is kind of like 5 out of 10 material. But then once like I heard some of the really good songs, I was like, okay, that's enough to like make it above average, right? Like it's definitely not average because it's either like slightly below average, like it's a 4 or a 6. It's not a 5, right?
Yeah,
So I think those really good songs, like you said, like Curl the Burl, um,
such a
Stardasm
good
is very
fucking song.
good.
It's so
Yes,
cat. It's so
like
fun.
the name, and I love like the I'm on fire. I love their lyrics. It's really cool.
Yeah, and
Um,
this honestly, that song should have been on Blood Mountain.
I would have loved that on Blood Mountain. Even though I think Blood Mountain is like essentially perfect the way it is.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's
man,
why
I
I debated because like I was gonna do Remission, which is their first album, but it's like how do I explain it? It's really sludgy. It's very subversive, and I don't know if you like the riffs and the melodies are awesome on Remission, but the vocals are very underground, screamy, like kind of garage band like. So I didn't think you were gonna mess with it at all. But that's why I decided to go with this one and say I was like, let's go with their most hated album, see what he thinks.
Oh, with the album cover again, I like the idea of that, like the four mouths or whatever, but it just seems like it's just like a derivative of the cover of Blood Mountain because
Yeah, and
it's
the
like
Blood Mountain one
the
looks cooler.
three. Oh yeah, that Blood Mountain, like they got the coolest album covers, man.
Yeah,
Even like
and
their newer ones I'm seeing, like it looks so cool. Like
I love
Emperor
Once More
Sands.
Around the Sun. That's a great album cover.
That I don't know what that is, but that is
It's
interesting.
trippy. I like it a lot. It used to be my background on my computer for a while. I love this fucking
Nice.
album cover. It's one of my favorites besides the From Mars to Sirius album cover.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, Black Tongue is one of the few like that, and Spectralight was one of the first songs I ever heard from Mastodon. I think Oblivion was the first song.
That's Oblivion's good.
Yeah, but Black Tongue is a song more in their style than the rest of this album.
Sure. Yeah. Like I could still tell that that was them.
But the
Whereas
intro
there's some
to
of them. Yeah.
yeah, the intro to
What's up?
Stargasm is another one. It's like I fucking love that intro, but then so I love Mastodon to death, but the one thing I cannot stand that they do is a lot of times they have very fucking cool intros, like shit that I've never heard before, or really cool effects, or just they're very creative in the way they're able to construct melodies in congruence with the effects, and then they'll totally switch the mood to some faster punky pop punk kind of rhythm, and then they go with the vocals just very upbeat and cheery, and they do that switch a lot, and it irritates the fuck out of me. That's why
Yeah.
I like their older prog stuff and their older heavier stuff, because they didn't do that. So like even on their very
Yeah.
good songs for their new material, they do this switch, and it kills me every time.
Yeah. I that kind of bothers me too. I just didn't really know exactly how to explain it. But yeah, no, I agree with you.
And that's just because
Um.
I hate that style. I hate that fast drum, like I don't even know how to explain. That's just that pop punk slash punk drum beat where it's like do 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 daka do daka do daka, and then the vocals like la da da la da da. Like I hate that so much.
Right. It's got that like that anime, like all the bad
Yeah,
stuff about
it's like
anime.
they have this very somber, mysterious, melodic intro. Then it goes in some upbeat fucking lolly lolly da. It's just like God.
Yeah, dude, punk like just needs to like die. The
I mean,
music
it is
and the
pretty much dead.
culture.
It's not even besides pop
No,
punk.
but like the music and the culture. It's just like I'm like it needs to go away.
Yeah, I can't stand punk kids. I hate punk kids more than metal kids, and I think we talked about that last time.
No, but like metal kids, like metal's not like the only thing about their personality, like they're kind of like they do other things outside of that.
Some that I feel like prog people are like that. Like they have jobs at Amazon. They have a styled, combed over haircut. But like I feel like the metal kids that are that lifestyle and live that personality, and they only listen to it, are like thrash kids who are stuck in the 80s and like those weird incel black metal kids.
What is the most incel metal genre? Is
Probably
it black
black metal.
like that's like the old school Black Sabbath, right?
No, black metal is like the Norwegian church burning satanic metal.
Oh, well, I'm not listening to that.
It's like, they got their faces painted black and white. Everything is shittily recorded, and it's just like high pitched screaming. It's awful.
I'm- I've never listened to it, but I'm familiar with that aesthetic.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna recommend you a Mayhem album. See how long you take before you fucking kill yourself.
Alright. Well, I'm sure you would too, but
I hate black, but there's some bands that they kind of mix, because I like some elements of black metal, especially the modern bands that actually have good production. So Behemoth is a band that mixes death metal and black metal, and I think it sounds cool. But traditional black metal is fucking garbage.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's the band Travis likes.
Behemoth is fucking
I
awesome. They're cringy
I
as people, and the lead singer's kind of a douche, but their music I think is good.
yeah, and also I mean like it's just their actual like their anti-religious stuff, unlike Tool, legitimately bothers me, and I'm like it just inhibits my ability to enjoy their music.
It's just for shock value though, and it's also because of where they're from. Like I was saying, like from Poland, so really their thing is against the government, against
Yeah,
their
but I'm like, yeah,
theocratical government.
right. But I'm like, dude, like, you can go back to communism if you want. I don't really think you want to. So, yeah, it's really not that big of a deal.
Well, the fact that they've tried to charge them, like it's not even like, oh, we're just gonna be edgy. Like they've actually had like fights against their government trying to get them arrested or fined and stuff like that because of black. So like they've legitimately had problems with their own government.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine with that, but for blasphemy charges.
For context, that's for them specifically. But again, like this is going fucking into it. Did you see? And I don't watch the fucking Grammys, but the one thing that's really cringy to me, and it's just most people that feel this way
Oh,
are boomers, is people are so freaked
yeah.
out about the Satanism and Hollywood shit. It's just like
No,
it's so
but
cringy.
no, but that's not like a. You gotta be fair. That's not really a boomer thing. I know I have a lot of boomer opinions, but like it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I thought you said it was separation of church and state, right? So why do you get to shove down Christians' throats how they can't show any of Christian, like they like you we can't be Christian in public. We can't actually, like, we can't do any Christian rituals. We can't do any Christian ceremony, anything. Nothing can be Christian, right? Because it has to be separated church and state, but it's like, okay, no, but why are you allowed to do all this satanic stuff? This doesn't really compute, right?
No, let me
So,
clarify. I'm not talking about the hypocrisy of Hollywood being able to politically, pick and choose what they want to do when they're around fucking children behind everyone's backs. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the people that are legitimately afraid of the Satanism and imagery in Hollywood. It's just like, are you not a grown up? Like, if like I remember, like, even when I was more religious and I was talking to religious people about it that thought it was stupid. It's like, are you that weak in your faith? You feel like watching something on TV is gonna pull you from Christ? Like, it's a stupid thing to just be
no,
scared of. It really is.
no, but the problem is, so the Oscars are mostly aimed at children, right? And children are more impressionable than adults, and like they might not know better, right? So then when they see all this stuff, like they can seriously take it the wrong way, right? And also like people can be concerned about like, shit, like I don't want these people like making movies that my kids are watching. Damn.
I don't know. As far as imagery goes, it's like the devil is a popular fucking he's a pop culture icon. Everybody knows who the fucking devil is, and there's been comedies and adaptations about him in different contexts throughout, the millennia, right? But it's just the fact that like not even with kids, like kids aren't watching the fucking Grammys. They're probably watching like highlights on TikTok about it, right? But like most of the time people just don't give a shit. They just like the artist and these people are so interested in subliminal messages like, oh, look at all these Illuminati symbols and all these music videos and all this Disney shit. It's just like, how fucking old are you? So what? I literally could see a politician could sacrifice a baby in the name of Satan, and I'd just be like, yeah, that sounds on brand. Like it doesn't fucking scare me. It's like I don't know. Just people are just so. It's just it's a weak thing for me
Yeah,
to feel
but
like to focus. Like I get the hypocrisy of it. That's all well and good because Hollywood is no moral standing compass. So the fact they get to pick and choose what they politically think is right is bullshit because they do shit 10 times worse. That's fine. I'm just saying the people that are legitimately freaked out, or the people that like they'll see that CGI video of Satan stomping through a city and they keep typing "Amen" because they think it's fucking real, or some shit. Have you seen that shit?
no.
It's
But
just
like
like so much ignorance.
But remember how people like me who like really do believe in all of these things, how it would bother someone like them, right? Because, well, not only because of the
But
hypocrisy,
you
but
think the
also it
world is
just,
already lost anyway, so it's like the people that are religious are not gonna want their kids to watch it, or they're not gonna believe in that, or they're gonna tell their children this is Satan, like all that. So like, it's not even aimed at the right people to care about anyway.
oh, I know, but I mean, like, they're doing everything they can to shove it down your throat, right? Because like it's all in the schools, it's all in all in every one of our institutions. They're just trying to shove you down these satanic messages, right? And I'm not just saying that because like I'm a silly, crazy Christian man. Like I'm like it literally is satanic, and they're open about it, right?
Yeah, I get that. My
And
point
it's
is,
like
who gives a shit? Like, let them deal their weird shit, and just if you don't have to be into it, you don't gotta be into it. And if you're a kid,
No, the
like I've seen creepy shit when I was younger, especially with horror movies. And like in my head, it wasn't like, oh, this is glorifying it or this is cool. It's just like, oh, this is mysterious and dark. But if I was to look back and like look at Hollywood of people like dressing in horns and everybody's all red and acting sexually explicit or whatever the fuck, I'd be like, oh, that's a little weird. Like it doesn't have
well,
to have
yeah,
more context than that. Like it, like you give it more. Like I feel like the reason why Hollywood does it is because you give it more power. It's like the same thing with banning words. The more taboo something is, the more someone's gonna want to do it more. The more that people
yeah,
just
but
don't give a shit
that's
about it, it's
not
gonna stop doing it.
no, but that's not really that doesn't really apply to every situation, right? Because like there's certain things that like you kind of know are bad, even if people, regardless of whether or not people tell you to do it or not, you know that like like if you know that killing people is just bad, right? Like you don't need someone to tell you that. I mean, obviously you should have someone tell you that,
People still
but
do it.
no, I know, but that doesn't mean like there's certain things where like you need rules, right? Because like you need to have laws against them. Um, Obviously, like it's just a question about like what is it that actually needs to be, and like regardless of whether or not it works, like I know it's not gonna like just completely fix the problem, right? But it's like certain things just like need that kind of like, yeah, like this is just bad. We shouldn't be doing this as a society, right?
So let me ask you then. So like, there's a lot of that imagery in like heavier types of music, right? Like not like the black metal thing where they're just like trying to be blatantly shocking and edgy and disrespectful, but like there's just a genuine just fascination with bad guys and evil, but it's not like on a glorifying level. It's just for like to make the darkness of a song, right? So like that's the context of using what, and it's the same with any monster or evil force or demon or whatever the fuck, right? It's a different context, I feel.
Well, so there's a difference between something being like dark and brooding, right? And like having that fascination with like the struggle between good and evil and like the being both good and bad and stuff like that, right? As opposed to something that is like literally open about being satanic, right? Like a lot of, black metal music, like they're very open about that and they're aggressively anti-Christian, right? But obviously I think the music just sucks anyways. But you just like there's certain things where you can just I know to a lot of people this isn't really a good argument because it's very metaphysical, but like you can kind of just hear it or you could feel it, whether it's just like a movie or a music, and you can kind of just tell like this isn't really doing anything good, right? Because it's like when you look at art, it's meant to be like appreciated for its beauty, right?
Yeah.
And there's just certain things, there's certain types of music. Like I'm just gonna say it, a lot of rap music, it sounds ugly. Like it doesn't sound pretty. I'm not saying everything needs to like pretty, but like there's just since there's no concept of objective beauty and we're not really united in anything, everything is just, like you can kind of just do anything you want, right? And we're all like desensitized to everything. It just makes everything suck, right? You kind of see where I'm going with this, and I just and a lot of the stuff like you can make the argument like, oh, Hollywood, like they're just trying to trigger Christians or whatever, or they're just trying to
They want
to
attention
to
because
do
no one
this,
watches the fucking Grammys, so they have to do. It's like Will Smith fucking slapping Chris Rock. They're doing it so people can watch the goddamn thing.
right?
No
But
one fucking watch it.
but even so, that's further proof that it's not coming from a good place,
No,
right?
yeah, and that's my whole point. Like Hollywood, it's cringy to me. Like I don't believe in the fucking shits. It's like Satanism is a fucking religion. Like it's people that, like I mean, I feel like there's a like people don't understand the difference between like cause like how do I even explain this? It's such a polarizing thing. So it's like what like people that aren't religious view Satanism versus the people that are religious that view Satanism. It's two totally different shits. It's like everyone thinks it's like devil worshipping, where it's like most people that are Satanists are just like Reddit atheists. Like they don't believe in the shit. They just symbolically like it, and then they've got too neckbeard to the point where now it's a fucking actual religion and they want to fight the First Amendment and separation of church and state. So it's like it's gone to a point where it's just a cringy fucking Reddit subgroup. It's what it seems like to me. Every person that I've met that's like claimed to have been a Satanist is they look how you'd imagine them. They're like vampiric, emo, kind of gothic. It's just It's just cringy to me. So it's like when I watch that, it's just like this is just fucking dumb. And I hate that
Yeah, but
trope
even
in music too. It's like it's overplayed. It's done. I'm waiting for new concepts, new things to create new monsters. You know what I mean? And that's why I like Mastodon because they have a shit ton of cool creatures and that darker stuff in that context.
yeah, but like it's further proof that like Satanism it just shouldn't be allowed because it just either makes you legitimately like a violent, dangerous person, like like the Satanist groups that literally threaten to burn the Eucharist. It's like, yeah, I thought you thought this wasn't real, huh? Why are you somehow acknowledging that Jesus is there, right? Like that's literally what demons do,
I think they're just
right?
trying to get like I said, they're trying to get a reaction. It's just a violent opposition to organized religion. Like I don't think they believe in any of the shit. They're just doing it to get a rise.
They
Truly, I think that's the point.
they do. They believe that Jesus is there and they want to burn him because they hate people like me. They hate the church, they hate everything I stand for, and they want me to die.
You must be talking to some weird people then, because other people I've talked to, they just seem like cringy atheists.
No, I'm not saying everyone is like that, but it's like it's either that or that. Neither one is good, so this should not be fucking allowed. You should not be allowed to worship the fucking devil. That's not good for anyone in society. It's not good for the people who practice the religion. It's not good for the other people around that don't practice the religion that have to deal with the bullshit that comes from either one of the Reddit loser you said or the people that legitimately go around burning churches and doing whatever, right? Like you can't it just doesn't work.
Yeah,
And I
and
know I'm sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Right, and like I know America is founded on like, we leave religion like that's your private thing, and we're not going to talk to you like we're not going to tell you like it like you can follow whatever religion you want, right? We're focused on like just being nice people and having a functioning society, right? And it's about like support everyone gets represented, right? And like that's I know that's what America is about, but it's like there's certain things like Satanism like that, like and other things, where it's like that you're that's asking number one, like you're asking for way too much, and it's just that's too far, like you have to draw the line somewhere.
I think for me the biggest one because there actually has been crimes committed in the name of like sacrificing to Satan or whatever gay ass deity you believe in, right? And there's also like recorded crimes of people actually burning down churches and shit. So it's like in that respect, then yeah, like it should not be fucking allowed. But I don't know. It's the same thing with I feel like you should have autonomy over your own body and you should be able to watch uncomfortable things and just be fine with it. And it's kind of the same concept with, like I said, with language or with words or with anything that's uncomfortable. Like you should just be able to take it. Like
Yeah, but that sorry.
like anytime you feel that way, it's your reaction. Like, and that's why people do it because they want to see your reaction. It has nothing to do with the principles of good versus evil. They just generally like getting a rise out of people or fucking with somebody.
Yeah, but even so, like I said, like it's not coming from a good place. It's just proof that like they are upset for some reason that people like me are the way I am, right? So they feel the need to make my life worse, right? So I mean, it doesn't make my life
I was about to
worse
say,
because
how
the
does it
fact
make
it
your life
just
worse? It has no impact on your life.
well, no, I mean, like if someone, well, no, it does, right? But
How does it have an
it
impact?
well, what? No, like if someone makes fun of me or who, if someone makes fun of anybody, like they're gonna feel something, right? They're
We
not
make
really gonna
fun of
feel
you
good
all the
about it.
time. Every time you came
No,
in,
I know, but like no, but you guys are no, but you could just kind of tell like when people are like you actually you're like laughing with someone as opposed to laughing at someone. Like someone who literally mocks Jesus Christ and the church and go around destroying and burning churches. Like that's different than going like, ah, Will, shut up. Like that's different.
what about the silly parodies like the Pastafarians?
I don't even know what that is.
You know what the Pastafarians are? The flying spaghetti monster.
Uh, no.
It started off as a guy. He was, I don't know what he was trying to prove some kind of point or do some paper in college, but he made up a fake religion called Pastafarianism, where you worship the flying spaghetti monster, and like your religious hat is a strainer that you wear. And so he made up a version of the Lord's Prayer. Basically, if you look it up, it's pretty funny. It's noodle themed. So like he just basically he was just making a satirical religion based off of Christianity, but some people take it as like the worst offense ever. But he's just making a silly parody.
I mean, if that's up to people feel, then that's how they feel.
But the problem, or not the problem, but the funny thing is they actually like they've taken it too far, and then they try to have it be an actual organized religion. Like people are just trying to like see how far they can take the joke.
All right, so that's what I'm saying. Like either way, it doesn't end well.
What do you mean it doesn't end well?
Like either way, like you say, like it's either like it upsets people for good or bad reasons, right? So
But
then
that's
you
what
have
I'm
that
saying. It shouldn't
problem.
upset people.
Well, people are always going to be upset about. I mean, like I said, regardless of whether or not they're right or wrong, like some people have things that are important to them, right?
Yeah, I have
So
things that
the
are important to me. I feel like I feel like they should not be off limits to be made fun of. I feel like anything should be made fun of. And like I feel like if you like say offensive things, you can't like get offended by other things. I just feel like that's just
I
how
mean,
to keep it fair.
yeah, I mean, as long as you do it equally,
Yeah.
because obviously you can't make fun of one religion more than another.
Yeah, that's the whole
I
thing with
guess,
South Park.
but
They're extremely offensive to almost anyone. So that's why I think it's dumb that people get offended by the shit they do. It's just like it's literally all fair.
they're a very one of the very few exceptions to like that. I'm not when they make fun of Christianity. Not only is it actually like funny and it's clever, but like they're just not so like aggressively like violent or like angry or like just resentful about it, right? They're just saying like, haha, Jesus resurrected because he took performance enhancing drugs. Like that's silly. It's like I'm not like they're not violently spitting and like just literally shitting on my religion, right?
Well, I feel like with them, they don't have a political agenda. So like you can tell, like they don't actually give a shit. Like they don't have a moral compass that you feel like I have to, look at your views on Christianity, and then you're the shining example of how society should be. So I don't get that when I watch them. So I feel like if you don't have a political agenda, I guess that's the difference when you criticize and make fun of something.
All right, so that's why I'm fine when they do it, but when Hollywood does all this stuff, I'm like, no, this is not okay.
Well, it's not like people really look up to that shit anyway. Like I don't see
Some
really anyone say.
some people unfortunately do.
They're probably in the minority though, because like most people, even if they're not religious, they're like, this is just fucking cringe, or it's just
Yeah,
bad.
I thankfully right. That's what I hope the common person would think. They're like, yeah, this is really stupid.
I think to me,
Um,
the only like satanic esque image that I think is funny and cool is Ghost, because they do it on a theatrical level. Like they like again, I don't think they could give a shit. But the fact that the whole point is just to do the exact opposite, just in the same exact way, because like people will tell you like some of their concerts they just feel like an actual mass and shit, and they always have like characters, like they have like their Pope guy always making announcements and shit on their Facebooks. Like they actually like go out of their way to really try to make it be like a parody of it. But it's not in like a weird agenda pushing way.
yeah, man, I still really wouldn't listen to them.
Their
Like
music is
for
bad
me,
now, but their couple first albums are really good.
even so though, like there's just certain things. If like I know the way you're saying that, like the way in which they're actually like it's just a parody, but even so, like just certain images, I'm like I can't listen to that.
Well, they
You
don't
know?
really have anything innately offensive. Like they don't have any criticisms, or they don't
Well,
how do I
right,
explain it?
but
They don't
that's the thing. So then I'm like, why do you even need to do that? It's just unnecessary.
because it's silly. It's just like a gimmick. It's their gimmick. It's like if the devil had a church and he had his disciples play music, and it's like it's the same exact type of worship, and it's they
But why does that need to be what your band is centered around?
I
Be
don't know.
centered
It's
around literally anything else.
it's
So
like
that's
any
why
gimmick. It's like, but no one else does it that way. It's like they
yeah,
do
but
like they're the
gimmicks
only
are
band that does it that way.
Right, but this is just proof that like gimmicks are stupid and you don't need them. And a lot of people think they need to have some like crazy outlandish tattoo to be like a great person. Like or like to be like famous or like what like be remembered. It's like no, like just Thomas Sowell talked about this a lot. He said like people with like the most basic names or whatever who wore like Michael Jordan wore the same basketball uniform as everyone else, had some basic haircut and everything, same like clean shaven, and like he had a basic name, Michael Jordan, but we all know him because of what he actually did, right? He didn't have to have some stupid tattoo or hairstyle or anything, or try to like to wear his uniform in different like gimmicks are just they're so annoying and stupid and like I don't know.
I feel like it's just like obviously you don't need a gimmick to be successful, and I feel like if the world for music specifically, if there were bands with no gimmicks at all, I feel like it'd be boring, and then if there were bands that all they were gimmicks, it'd also be fucking boring. So you just need that balance between the two of them because I get like sometimes gimmicks are just like if your music is bad and you have a good gimmick, then the only exception is Guar. I think Guar's music is bad, but their gimmick is really fucking funny, and their stage antics are hilarious. So like there are very few bands that are like you actually have to be entertaining to have a gimmick. I think you can't just be like Kiss, because they don't really have a gimmick. They just dress up in fucking retarded makeup and shit, and they just play shitty music. Like they don't actually have a gimmick. Their gimmick is just dressing up. You know what I mean? Like they're not characters or anything like that.
I've
They
never
try to
actually
be, but
listened to them.
it just falls flat. It's like people that try to have themed music, but they don't really do well in making a theme. They just kind of dress like something specific.
Yeah, that's kitsch. That falls in line of that.
Yeah, so like I feel like if you have a gimmick and it's really clever, then it's good. But yeah, you don't obviously need a gimmick. If you have great music, then you have great music regardless.
Right. Exactly, yeah. Right, like if the music's good, music's good. Um
I
but
do like
like
gimmicky shit though. It is entertaining, especially if the music is bad, because then it's just that's the only thing that they're memorable for is their gimmick.
but man, just at the end of the day, not come from a good place.
Regardless, I just think it's interesting to see like grown adults like freaking out and typing amen in the comments. It's just like I feel like if I was God, I'd just be like, what the fuck, bro?
I don't know.
But long segue. What other songs are on this fucking album? Um,
Most of them, so like um Blasteroid I thought was like all right. All the heavy lifting was pretty cool.
yeah, I like that
But then
song though.
like after like Drybone Valley up until the Sparrow, I was like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
So that's
Thickening is
why
kind of a not really a memorable song. I hate Creature Lives. I feel like that's the worst song on the album.
I probably would. It's either that or Octopus has no friends.
Yeah, and that's I think like you look at the comments on the videos for those. That's most people agree like they're just bad songs.
Right. No,
Which
but
sucks is
it's a shame.
the bass part for Creature Lives is cool if they actually would have continued to build off of it correctly.
Sure. Sure, but also like I want to love these songs so much because they have really awesome names, as always.
Bedazzled Fingernails I think is my favorite name.
Right, they have like the strangest, but it like you can tell, like I think there's a difference between a gimmick as opposed to like I don't know, like this
They're
is just
quirky.
right. It's like this is just what we kind of came up with. I don't know. It came to us. There's a difference between that as opposed to like, we need to name it some weird, strange thing. Because ooh, how zany and cool and like weird, huh?
Yeah, they're
Like
not really that
I
hipster
hate
with it.
that,
They're just more silly.
dude. That's another culture that needs to just like go away.
You know what's funny is that's the one subculture that no one ever wanted to claim. No one ever wanted to admit that they were hipster. Like, oh, I'm not like that, and then they're exactly like that.
What's that? Yeah, because like right, because everyone wants to be punk or like or like what is like where do you put like environmentalist and all that bullshit? Like, is
I
that
mean,
that
maybe. I
that
feel like
that's kind of punk though,
I
I
feel like more
guess.
hipsters and punk kids would be environmentalists than not. I would imagine.
Yeah, well, all of them need to go. I'm sorry. No, but like some of those like environmentalists are literally like terrorists.
Oh, eco terrorists.
Yeah, like they were literally like, someone like in this documentary I was watching about, I forgot what the guy's name was. Like he planted a bunch of bombs everywhere.
It's like, how does that help the environment?
Well, no, 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 not that. He wasn't part of the actual group, but he was like kind of like agreed with their point, you know? Like he like because they asked him like when he was in jail, they were like, "Wait, so are you a environmentalist?" He's like, "No, but they have a point." I personally don't think they have a point, but
I feel
so
like
like
George Carlin had the best point when it came to environmentalists. He was like, they just want a clean environment, their own habitat to live. It's like they don't give a shit about the planet. They just want a bike path.
right, yeah. I think that's like actually one of his political takes. I think he actually pretty got right.
Yeah, because it's true. Like even if you support, like obviously, like it's an easy thing. Like yeah, I support not polluting the fucking environment, but like
Like
all
who
this
the
money
fuck
they
wants
throw
to
at it, it's not gonna fucking like this Green New Deal, all this renewable energy. The technology is not fucking there yet, and they're putting all this money into shit that's not that efficient.
right? It's like exactly. It's like who the fuck doesn't want to like take care of like the like who like right it's like the pay your fair share. It's like yeah, of course everyone thinks you should pay your fair share of taxes.
Yeah,
Like
anytime the
really?
government's fucking polluted the water, not one's like, oh yeah, I love to have cancer and brain damage and have deformed fucking babies. Thank you, Flint, Michigan, Camp Lejeune, and all this other bullshit. Or like anytime some company, dumps all this bullshit into the waterway or whatever river, it's just like,
Right. Or it's like with the environmentalists, like some of them would literally set up like spikes that would like some of the times like they killed these lumberjacks because when they would go cut down a tree, it would just trigger this like spike trap and it would kill them.
and I
I'm
think
like, you guys
also
are
too, like people were talking about blowing up oil pipes, and it's like, yeah, if you didn't see the fucking one in the Gulf, that was a massive problem. Like all this goddamn oil in the environment, in the water everywhere. Like, yeah, blow up an oil pipeline. That's great for the
with those like
environment.
those spills. Yeah, it's
Yeah, like all the
exactly.
animals
Yeah,
and
that's good
plants
for
that
the
got fucked
environment.
and killed.
Right, and it's also like now you don't have the you know the gas for your car that you drove to blow it up. So
Yeah, all these
yeah.
eco fucking people that want to cause chaos, like they don't do that where they live or where they close to where they feel comfortable. They just go, they travel to do this shit, like for a reason. Like, oh,
Right.
it's making a point. Is like you kill somebody in the right way. It's a quick path to change. It's like no, it's not. It's just gonna make people
Right.
hate you even more. You can't. It's like
Right.
every terrorist movie that's
So
like we're doing this for the greater good to up security. It's like no,
right.
we
So
will
like it
continue to
just
do this.
proves right, like they're literally religious zealots. Right. But of course if you ask any one of them, they despise religion, but it's like, no, you guys are you're literally up there with all the stuff that you claim to hate. So
Yeah, and that's why I believe that there's never been an equal balance of power shift, and everybody just does the same shit on different extremes. So every time they hate something, they
right.
do the
It's
exact same
never
thing in the opposite direction. It's the same thing with everything.
right. So it's like yeah, pretty much. But it's like the I guess like why do you not like why do you think that like no one wants to be labeled as hipster?
Well, because they were made fun of on a national, probably even global scale. Like they were the laughing stock of everything. And once something becomes a meme, you don't want to identify with it. But my problem with
I
hipsters
like
is
the
that how
the
ungodly
boomers
self-aware
and
they thought they were cool. Like they weren't even like, yeah, I'm hip. Like they weren't even. It wasn't like an N-word thing. They legitimately thought they were cool, which is really strange. Like they had no self-awareness.
it's
I
an
don't.
N-word thing.
It's. I hope you get what I mean by that.
I guess like I really don't care if you like because like I guess maybe like but did they think they were cool and like they didn't really care or like once they people figured out they weren't cool like because I don't
No,
care if you like
they
wait
thought
so
they were
like
cool, but they wanted attention, and the fact that they thought
oh
that
well
they're
that
so
one sucks
obscure,
yeah
like it was their obscureness that they thought that made them cool. But what they didn't realize is that everybody liked the same obscure shit until where everything became mainstream. So all the bands and all the clothes and all the shit that they liked became like, yeah, of course you'd like that. Not like, ooh, what is this cool thing I've never seen before? That's what they wanted, but that's not what
Right.
they got,
It's
unfortunately
the
and fortunately.
yeah. It's like the myth of diversity and freedom of thought, right?
It's like it's not freedom. It's the same shit everyone else does, just on a different level.
Oh yeah. Right. So it's like, like we all, it just further proves like we all submit to things, right? No one is really free, right? So it's just a matter of whether or not, and the way I look at it, it's just whether or not you're a you're a slave to God or you're a slave to all this nonsense, you know?
The funniest thing about hipsters is that they really went out of their way to dress like they were in their 50s when they were in their early 20s. So you look at people and be like, what fucking decade are you in?
You might get
And they
that
do
with
all
me
these fucking
now.
drugs and they drink and smoke all the time. So they generally looked fucked too. And they were dressing in old boomer clothes. So it's just like, you guys are just dumb. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
Are
dude, I'm
beanies
telling you, they're the most annoying people to be around. I'm glad they're called, like, there's a lot in Richmond, and
Oh, yeah, I bet.
they're the fucking worst, dude. Fucking circular
But
glasses and penis tip beanies, they're the goddamn worst.
yeah, because I was gonna say beanies is a pretty the hipster thing.
Yeah, which sucks because I like beanies,
What
but I'll still wear them.
what's the what's the most like hipster music to listen to?
Probably ska or like
Uh,
folk punk. Really, just like a lot of quirky instruments like the xylophone, the triangle, the trumpet, fucking I don't know, some
hey,
hand
and
percussion.
they all just use it in the wrong context, and it's like,
It's I don't know. I mean, again, music is subjective, but they're just annoying as people. Like they're the fucking worst.
right, because all the right, you personally dislike them as people.
Well, they don't even want to claim it. Like no one claims to be a hipster. It's a slur.
It's like
That's why I say it's not like the N word thing.
right,
Like what's up,
yeah,
my hips? Like, it's not like that. It's just no one
right,
wants to
because
be
like a lot of
associated with it.
right, because a lot of people associate themselves with the other thing you said, but
Yeah, because it's a slur and it's a term of endearment for a select group of people
yeah, but no
only.
one's like I am a hipster. Like
Yeah, no
it's
one.
something that we dub them. Yeah.
It's I actually want to find somebody that's like that. I want to see somebody like proud to be one. That would be fucking hilarious.
Alright, let me look up the the definition of hipster
It's
in
because
Spanish.
their own ideology failed them. They're so adverse to being mainstream. And then when hipsters became mainstream, they had an identity crisis because they couldn't have the capacity to like anything different. And then they just tried to hide it and try to act like it wasn't hipster. It's like, no, you like the same bullshit as everyone else. You just are not aware enough to the fact that you're like everyone else. You have nothing individual about you. And that's the main annoyance with them is that they think that they're original when they're really not, and they suck. I remember I used to be I was friends with this one dude on Facebook, and I was only friends with him for entertainment value because he was always, he would have quirky posts of the music he was writing, or he would do really awful stand-up slam poetry shit, and then every other day he would post about his mental health or how he can't hold a job or how he hates everyone and shit. Like, it was very entertaining. And the last time I just like, fuck it, I'm hitting the unfriend button, was he put out just this god awful, be like, I'm sorry to the people I hurt, I'm working on my mental health, I'm going to therapy. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I don't want to be I don't want to view this in my subconscious anymore. I'm tired of these fucking people now. It's not even past making fun of them. It's just like, I genuinely hate you as a person.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that for me now. Where like I barely I'd say I barely use. I still use the social media even though I shouldn't. Where I'm just like shit, like I don't want to see your shit anymore when I open up the like Snapchat or Instagram, you know?
Yeah. This is the one
Cuz
thing
like
I'm very surprised about myself, because before I was never of the opinion, oh, I can be myself no matter who I'm around. But no, it really is true. The people you're around really do affect you. And that's the one ideology I fought for the longest time, because I was always friends with people I hated. I always was looking at the other dissenting side just to see what they were saying. And the most of my media content was absorbing myself with this, opposite.
yeah.
And it just came to the point where it's just like, this is dumb. I don't want to be around this type of person. I don't want to view this type of shit anymore. I want to view things that are actually going to help me be successful and grow. I don't want to see somebody fail and laugh at them. I want to see somebody succeed and wonder how they did it. Like I'm tired of, that part of me is dying,
Yeah, exactly.
which is interesting.
Hmm. Um, yeah, the Trad West said something similar. He was like, the most important financial decisions you ever make have nothing to do with money, right? He says like it's like who you marry, who you like spend time with, who like what like all this stuff, like what activities you're doing, right? Because like nothing is more expensive than bad habits and bad company.
Yeah, bad company really is the number. Like you can meet people that'll ruin your fucking life.
Right.
God,
It's
God, it's not a
really
joke.
important. Right. So
Especially if
like
you like who you're dating. Like, good lord, you really can fuck your life up if you meet the wrong person.
yeah.
For real, dude. Like men and women, we're both fucked. Crazy bitches
Yeah.
out there, crazy dudes.
Um right, and it's like if someone wants to drop me because of my religious views, okay. But then I'm just like cuz a lot of these people, I can tell they just have that thing in their head like, "Oh, like why does everything have to be about religion, bro?" I'm like, I'm not even the one bringing it up. You are, right? I'm coming to you going like, "Hey, it's been a long time. What's up, man?" Not once am I ever saying, "Hey, are you interested in trying Catholicism?" Like I never bring that up until you do, right? But then apparently you have this thing in your head where you think I'm this kind of like just evil traditionalist, annoying Christian, annoying ugly retard, right? And I'm like,
Are you
guys,
projecting, Will?
maybe a little too much. I don't know, but it's like no, but there's certain things that, like people have ideas about. There's like stereotypical Christian people, right? So I'm like, why do you get to suddenly be bigoted against my faith, right? I'm
I,
like, I have tons of things that I suppose of you, but that doesn't like they're just kind of there where I mean, and then also like I give people a chance, right? Like I'm not just gonna think like, oh, you're just like any other one of these, like, and just drop a bunch of adjectives, right? I'll still talk because like I mean, there's like we don't even need to talk about that, right? Like we can just talk about like music, right? Any
yeah.
of these other things. And like I said, you're the one who's fucking bringing it up. I'm not even doing that. So I don't know.
For me, it's different because I don't really have anything like that. Like I don't obviously like if there be people like I think the closest would be like the certain political beliefs that I have, if you could even call it that, where it's just like a strong conjectured conjectured opinion on something because I don't give a fuck enough to actually learn about a topic, or I just feel like I have a strong opinion against, well, not feel, I know I have a strong opinion against, types of people and all this other type of shit, right? You can tell just from listening to this show.
Yeah.
But I don't really
Yeah.
hold too much volition in goddamn hold too much volition in it because I haven't dated people of different religions. I've only dated people who were Christian or who were atheists. Like I've never dated anybody that was Buddhist or Muslim or Hindu or whatever, and I still wouldn't have any aversion to it. Like the only thing I wouldn't do is like I wouldn't have somebody like if somebody wanted me to convert, then I wouldn't do it. But like if I just had to go attend something with them or do stuff with them or just like I'm always tolerant of whatever the fuck people do unless they're being annoying about it or they're being aggressive, right? Like it's not hard for me to do that. It really isn't. It's just not. Obviously with my sense of humor and the takes that I have on some things, that's as really as far as I'll go. Like I'm not going to be like, unless they're dangerous or they just really are a shit person, I'm not going to be like, I morally can't be friends with you or I morally can't date you. Like, that shit's just so cringy to me.
Right. And it's like I was saying, like I'll speak to anybody, right? I'm not like refusing to talk to you. I mean, unless you're just like really annoying and I'm like, okay. Like you're just kind of getting on my nerves, right?
I mean, that's
Um
pretty basic.
but yeah, but even so, you know, like I still try the best I can to like just like be the best I can, right? And just think about, like how should I really? Because like I might feel animosity towards some people, right?
Yeah.
Especially some people like I knew from my childhood, but it's like you know, I really do have to think about the cheesy question, what would Jesus do, right? And it's like you have to think about I do I believe this or not? I do. All right, then I really do have to like do what he would have done, right? Because you see Jesus with the Roman soldier, right? And the Jews are like, bro, like, are you serious? You know how like when Jesus is just nice to him, right? Like the Roman centurion, right? And then like all the Jews are just they can't believe like what he's doing. They're like, dude, you know how much suffering and pain that these people have caused us? And he's like, yeah, but it's like if you uprise against them, they're gonna be replaced. They're just gonna be replaced by another person, another person. You're gonna keep hating each other. The cycle keeps continuing, right? So you are the one, not you specifically, but it's like you in general have to be the person who breaks the cycle, right? You know?
You don't have to be that way in every aspect of life. You can just let shit go because otherwise you'll drive yourself crazy.
No, sure, but that's part of it too, right? Um, like I've done that. There's certain times where like I'm just thinking about you know like like correcting something, so to speak. But then I'm like, yeah, you know what? That'll just make it more complicated.
Could you marry somebody that wasn't religious or a different religion, but they didn't like have it cause a problem? They still like went to all the services and shit.
No, I would absolutely not do that.
Interesting.
I mean, if they made the promise to me to actually do it, then I'd be fine. Like if they're not at the present moment, but because you have to do that in Catholicism, like you have to promise to raise the kids Catholic, even if the spouse isn't Catholic, they have to agree to be like, yeah, okay, I'll raise them Catholic. Like my grandpa did that.
Well, I
My
know
like,
people that actually do that. That's what I asked. Like, if you would be like one of those people that do that.
oh that like if I mean, you're just kind of rolling the dice, and it's like you can either get a 10 or a 1, right? Like my grandma got a 10, because my grandpa actually did end up really caring about it. But then I just think that's way too risky, right?
Why is it
But
risky?
also, well, like I said, it's either a 10 or a 1. Like they're either gonna convert or they're not.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. They're not going to convert, but they don't like they'll raise the kids Catholic. They're not gonna teach them different shit. They'll just
Um,
do the thing.
that's not enough for me.
Okay, I was
Cause
just
I'm
curious.
Yeah, no, sure. I just I guess maybe didn't understand the question, but I do now. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess like for me, because like I'm 100% like I'm like in it to win it, right? So I'm like if my spouse is not on the same page, then I'm just I just don't really know what else to say.
I think sometimes it's like the opposite attract effect, but yeah, for me, I don't really give a shit. My kids can be raised whatever. I don't feel like I have to be the grand arbiter of knowledge to my children. I feel like obviously the stuff that happens to you as a kid is leaves an imprint. Obviously trauma related shit is going to be more impactful in a negative way, but I feel like if I tell my kids something and they grow up thinking it and then as an adult they find out that it's not true or that there's a different way that's better, I feel like the way things are going now or like the type of kids that I'd have because I'm so skeptical and cynical about shit, I feel like they would just be able to figure it out on their own, whatever their path would be. So I don't really give a shit how they'd be raised, but they'd be raised fair no matter what kind of system they believed in.
There's certain things I would say that like like right that like just this is it or this isn't it, right? Like like I don't think you would want your kids to I mean I don't want to speak for you, but like I don't think you would want your kids to like be punk and like working in restaurants and just spending their money. Like I mean maybe I'm wrong. Uh
I
but
want
like I
them to
just
be successful in their own way. I would not want my kids to struggle. That's really as
right,
far as
that's
I
what
would go. I don't care what the fuck they're into, any of that shit, even if I think it's cringy. That's not my job to direct their passions. My job is to make sure I can direct their passions in a way that they will not struggle.
oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like do you like there still is an extent to like you have to teach them the basics of like how to do this, right? Because like um do you like you get where I'm getting at?
So I guess it just depends on the kid, right? So you take private schools, right? Most of the time, those kids' parents have a lot of money and they have the resources to give their kid whatever head start and whatever resources they need to be successful in life. But they're also very highly disciplined because there's a lot of rules you got to follow, a lot of stuff you got to learn. Or if you play a musical instrument, also makes you more sophisticated as a person, especially if you learn on violin or piano. Just psychologically, this is how it goes, right? But other kids can't handle that kind of pressure, then they wig out and become anti whatever drug addicts, blah 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 blah. So I feel like it has to depend on the kid. I feel like if my kid thrives under discipline and rudimentation, and that's what it takes, then sure. But if not, I need to find another way to instill ambition. You know what I mean? It just depends. I don't, because I don't know what my kids like. I don't know what the way they need to learn is.
Yeah,
You
I
look at
think
Asians though. Asians are highly disciplined as a culture, and they instill that harshly upon their children. And I know a lot of people, a lot of Asian friends that can't handle that, and they've kind of wigged out. I know an Asian dude that works at Harris Teeter, and he's my age because he doesn't have any ambition to do anything else. But
yeah.
obviously, there's a lot of Asians that are very highly successful because of the way that they're raised and the discipline that they have to endure from their parents. So it just depends. I'm not going to instill harsh discipline upon my children.
I think it really so you were talking about the what school you send your kids to. Like I'm a very strong believer that um everyone should go to the high school I graduated from because it has that perfect balance. So it's classical education, right? So most of the education is just like yes, it's a private school. Yes, it can be a prep school, right? It gives you that kind of it's not like you choose to take these classes and it's like a prep school or you choose to take these classes and then you end up becoming like a blue collar worker. Both are successful. It's like no, like they take the same courses, right? You're doing the same work and stuff like that. But it really kind of when you get the education style that I got, where a lot of it was like you just sit down and you listen, right? Like you don't have to constantly have on your mind. Like the reason that like the kids in the prep schools you were talking about that don't do as well is just because they can't stand that like I have to take the test, I have to like get the score on the ACT or whatever, all this stuff like. But for like the school I went to, I didn't have to do that, right? Because like I barely even had homework, really, especially like my senior year. You just sit down and listen, right? And a lot of it's Socratic. People can say things. That and like the teacher can. They gave us some really really nice lectures to talk, and like they would just kind of because they wouldn't talk about subjects just like this is how it is. I mean that's part of it, but they would also like just relate it to why is it important. How can this help you? Um, and also like why it could be interesting. Because they like we could talk about anything really. But also, like I said, the school I went to, it's really good for both like the people that have those ambitions to go to college, but it also has those people that are just like, yeah, I just want to be like a plumber. And both of them get the same great education. No one is because like in those prep schools, those are really like we both kind of agreed on, I guess, like that they're only really good for those people that can handle that discipline and have that sophistication. But that some people they just don't have that, right? But the school I went to, like it allowed people that have those two different kinds of sophistications, right? And it just kind of made both blossom, in my opinion.
I think it just depends on the type of person you are. And obviously, everybody has different experiences. If you have great teachers, whether it's public, private, prep board, whatever, it's not the fact that they taught you something. It's the fact that they actually, inspired you to be something or to go into a specific field. I never feel like I learned anything useful in school. And I really didn't even give a shit about flunking out. I never came close to flunking out. I graduated high school with an advanced degree. I was honor roll pretty much the whole entire time. I think one semester I got like two C's in some classes, so I didn't get to have their dumb little donuts one day. But I didn't want to go to college. I was kind of forced to, kind of by my parents. My parents didn't force me to go to college. They just wanted me to do something, and I couldn't think of an alternative besides college. Because I didn't want to be an electrician. I didn't want to be a plumber. I didn't have a trade that I was interested in that I knew of at the time. So college, I guess, was the only thing to get the school counselors and the fucking my parents off my back. So I just decided to do it. But again, the things I are into, like history and criminology and all that, that actually like inspired me because there are real world applications where I feel like I would be good at doing this or I want to do it. But what killed it was the actual structure of the school. It's not designed for you to learn shit. And you're talking about with the pressure of having to take a standardized test. I never gave a shit because I I I don't even know what score I got in the PSA the PSATs. I never took the SATs. I just took a placement exam to community college. So
Right.
I
I
never
don't
had that
remember that
fear.
either. Yeah.
I never had that fear. I just didn't give a shit. And nothing like I had a couple history teachers that kind of inspired me because I enjoyed history. But other than that, every other thing I've learned was a chore. It was not exciting. It was not useful. And I've forgotten all of it because none of it applied to what I'm currently doing right now. And that's where I think is the problem. You have to be like college. I feel like you need to have kids be placed into things that they're actually good at doing as opposed to making everybody learn the same shit.
Right. And it's like you said, the focus isn't even on education anymore. It's just
Oh,
to
it
get the
really never
grade,
was,
to get
honestly. It really never was.
it's yeah, all it is just position, right? And prestige. So it's like it's not actually about learning and actually forming yourself as a human being. It's just no, no, no. I need to get into the next thing and 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 like it's just until eternity, right?
Yeah, and it's not even the students that feel that way. It's the teachers. Like every, I didn't learn this shit from my dumb other classmates. It was the teachers bitching about this. It's like first off, being overworked, underpaid, but like the whole structure of it, like it's not designed. Like it's hard on them too. Though like the speed that they have to grade all this bullshit, all these state assigned packets, and then all the material has to be watered down and condensed and crunched just to take the test because that's how the schools get their funding. Like it's a horribly designed system. It really is. So it's not even the students, it's the teachers too. They're like, this is fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
like ask any teacher. They're like, do you like teaching a class just to take like for kids to take a test? Half of them will be like, no, this is not the correct way to
no.
like teach children.
Right. But then I guarantee if you surveyed my old school, they would it'd be a resounding yes. Because like the test is just kind of like, yeah, we have to do that because we have to qualify as like a legitimate state school, right?
Yeah,
Because like I'm sure for a lot of people, like they probably wouldn't even really care about the test because it's about actually learning, you know?
I surely fuck did not care.
Right. I think you would have been really happy. I'm not saying you weren't
No,
happy at Osborne. I think
I would have hated it if I thought the rules of
no,
my
you
fucking
would
school were
not.
done. I would have hated it. I couldn't even. I can't even grow my hair in a private school and have to fucking
No,
dress up
but
in the same outfit every day. Like I'd fucking hate it. I'm telling you, I would hate it.
dude, like you'd get over it in like the first week. It's not that big of a deal.
No, it's just the fact that like I don't mesh well with like I've all the private school kids I've met. I just don't mesh well with them. Like back in like now I don't give a fuck. I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. But like back then I just did
Yeah,
not
but
mesh with private school. Like I hate like it was just such a weird environment. And I've been to a couple of them, and because I had a brief stint where I wanted to go to one because I was just like I don't even remember, like I think I was doing badly in some class and like my mom was trying to ask me why and I just came up with some bullshit like I can't learn in this environment. I need a better learning environment. So I so I don't know. I don't like useless rudimentation. So I if I hated it in my loosely formed public school, I don't think I would have liked it at a stricter private school.
yeah, but I just explained to you how like my school, it's not like a private school in the way that you think it is. Like it's just private in the sense that like you pay for it and it's just like that's it. I
I still
mean,
don't feel like I would have learned anything though. Like I don't know.
y-
Like it's
yes, you definitely would have. Like I didn't even really try that much, and it's like thinking about the stuff they taught me, like even like just general like just philosophical and like mathematical concepts I can just bring up now, like all because like they taught me these things, and like how like they teach about the classics and like a lot of Plato and a lot of like those classic like Greek like Western philosophers. Like I'm sure you think that stuff
Yeah,
is
I
cool.
learned all that shit in school too, but like I know, like I
Right,
said,
but you don't
I
even
can retain
fucking
knowledge. That's not my problem. My problem was like there was just no ambition to learn anything.
right, but I just really think if you were in the environment I would, like you would have had that ambition to like just sit down and like actually cuz like I said, you just sit down and listen. Notes is optional.
I did that. I All I do is sit down and listen to people. Like that's literally then like 90% of my life is just listening to the other bullshit that people tell me and me not having the fucking, you know, desire to just get involved with it. Like I half my day is just listening to shit and observing. Like it's because it's a different environment of observing and listening. It doesn't mean I'm like connected to it. And that was
Right.
my problem throughout the most of it. Like I was a lot more cynical than I am now. I'm slowly chipping away at that armor.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, wait, but you never went to the school. So.
That is true. I'm just saying, like the structure of schools in general, no matter how good they are, I don't think I would mesh well in any of them. Now, I don't know if I would have done better in a private school than in public school. I feel like our school had a bunch of fucking problems, like with just gangs and sexual predators for teachers and just shitty funding for a lot of stuff, and mostly all the cool science classes and tech classes were being replaced by ESOL. And when I say that, that's not a problem. Like people need to fucking learn English. It's just the fact that you know we just were overcrowded in the city, and the city didn't have a good solution besides just building millions of different schools. So it's just a
Yeah.
necessary evil. But unfortunately, that's the classes that got cut. Um,
Yeah.
but
Damn.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm actually curious. I don't know where I would be in life if I went to private school. I don't know if I'd be doing what I'm doing now, and I really like what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, you. It's clear that you do.
I don't know. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I don't know. I always think about if I would be more prestigious than I am. I have the aptitude for it. I just don't have the desire.
That's a lot of people.
I feel like it's a lot of people that are pushed like that at a young age that kills the ambition out of them. That's why I don't think I'm going to do that to my kids. I want to try to find a way that grows that and enlightens that and instills that, not suppresses it or makes them feel like
Right.
they don't have to use it.
That's not what I'm saying you should do to your kids. Like that's not how my parents really were to me. Like you just kind of have to raise your kids in a way so that like at some point they just kind of figure out on their own that. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's easier said than done. Like it's especially like you
I
don't know what your
know.
kid's gonna be like. You know how many
I know.
problems they're gonna
I'm
have.
I'm not
It's
gonna. Yeah, but you're gonna have problems. But like you just have to always be there and just set the good example, right? Because the good example, it's just it's better than anything, right? And like obviously, your kid's gonna be an asshole, I'm sure, in the beginning, but over time, right? Like if you act like if you see how your father was good and then you act in his image, right? Because like you were, I mean, I'm not saying you, but a lot of people, you know, were just whiny assholes when they're kids, right? Even if they're it's regardless, like it doesn't matter if the parent made him that way. It's like that's just how kids are, right? So it's like once over time when you're older, like in my opinion, like when you just see the good example of your parents or your dad more specifically, if you're a guy like you and me, and then you see that, and then over time, like you just follow that when you're a dad, and then they like your son who's a whiny asshole when he's a baby and just grows up, like when he sees that example again, right, and then it's just it keeps it going. Because like I'm just like kids are always just gonna be whiny assholes who have limited perspectives, right? And
yeah.
obviously, no, like I obviously there are people that push their kids way too hard, right? For like literally the simplest, like the stupidest things, right? Because it's like, wow, you pushed your kids so hard to place like third in like a state swimming tournament. Wow, you know? like some tournament that like in 5 years from now, like who the hell is gonna remember that?
Yeah, it's the same thing with people that they think they have prodigy kids. They just want them. They clearly have no interest in music, and they force them to be virtuosic. It just does not work. And I don't know. I
Right.
mean,
It's all
specifically with
just
like with my parents, right? I've had more arguments with my mom than my dad. I mean, of all the problems I've had with my parents, the one thing for both of them is that they are very hardworking people, and that's the one thing I think the only thing really I think they've instilled into me. But I don't know, like my dad did not get along with his dad, so he wanted to be the one to break that cycle and really, try to have a relationship. That's why I've had very few arguments with my dad. Or like if we'll have like our arguments consisted of conversations like I'm having with you. It's like I'll say one thing he doesn't agree with, he says one thing I don't agree with, and we go back and forth. That's kind of really the extent of me fighting with my dad. So
that's not
yeah.
bad.
No, my
That's
parents are fine, but
yeah,
I
you
don't
got it
know.
good.
They're fucking the parents are interesting, but yeah, I
Yeah.
I don't, which is weird to me though. Like I don't feel like as a man, like to me, like if I would have connected with my mom more than my dad, then so be it. That's just how life goes. You like more people than you just it just doesn't matter. But I did connect more with my dad as a kid.
Right. I can't say that on my side because I'm sure my mom's gonna hear me.
That's right.
um,
Who's your favorite parent? Let us know.
well, that's like impossible though.
You can't. I mean, you
But
can like it's like your parents probably know. Like it's probably not a secret who you connect more to. Like that's not. I don't think it's a disrespectful thing to say. It's not like you're favoring one over the other. You just naturally connect to one person than the other. I don't believe you connect to both your parents equally.
we'll connect like in what way?
Like I said, like you generally like you just have more conversations with them, or you agree on more stuff, or you generally have more common ground. Because I feel like like musically, I have more common ground with my dad than my mom. Like that's the biggest thing I would say is music. My dad likes
Yeah,
more of the
but
same kind of music I do than my mom does.
yeah, but like music taste doesn't mean I prefer one or the other. I mean, obviously,
I'm not
yeah.
saying
There's
I'm,
no. I'm not
I was
saying that there's
joking.
gonna be. I know. I'm not saying that there's not gonna be like the one that you just kind of hang out with more and get along with better. But like, I'm not that like I can't like definitively say like I prefer one. Like I can't make that decision.
I'm not saying prefer. I'm saying which one do you connect more to? Like which one?
I
Okay,
don't.
simply which one do you
It's
have more common ground with? Just we'll start there.
I was just it's really kind of equal
It's a
because we
moderate
kind of all
answer.
have no, but we kind of all have the same common ground about like literally everything.
What about your siblings?
It's pretty much the same deal.
Dude, you're full of shit. Come on.
No, I
That
mean
no,
no that
I don't
there's
believe you.
no, okay. There's something that I don't want to talk about. Um,
Tell me off camera then.
and I okay at some point. I don't know about when, but all right. But
Do your siblings
outside of
listen to this
that,
shit?
no. The only stuff we are not common ground. It's like just personal taste in all these different things, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like we're all on the same page in terms of like religion, politics, like whatever, all that stuff. So
I'm not even
it's
trying to go
really
that deep. It's just legitimately like you have more common interests, so you talk more with one another. Like it's just naturally how it happens.
oh, I know.
I don't
Okay,
believe
I
you have
guess
that same opinion with all your siblings and your parents equally. There's no way. We're not like that as
no,
humans.
no. I guess it's just I just didn't. I misinterpreted the statement. I'm sorry.
So now that you've understanded it, what's your answer?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really think of that. I mean, I'm sure I could give you an answer, but like, I'm just like I don't know. I don't want to sit here and try to figure it out.
Why not? It's interesting. It's good to
Eh,
explore this this different part to yourself. It's good
yeah,
to
but
ask
this
questions like that because at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. It's just your personal
yeah, but I'm
feelings.
like, can we just like talk about something else? I don't know. Like just I mean, we could talk about this. I don't know, like on another one or like
Based
what?
on your timid demeanor, fine.
Right. I mean, like just I don't know. Like do I need to have an answer now?
Not if you don't truly have one.
No, because I mean, I just kind of just I live my life, and I don't know, like it just these things, like I guess they've come to my head, but I don't really think about them just because I get along so well with my family. It just I don't know.
I just don't think it's that difficult to say. Like I have a brother and a sister. I don't really connect to both of them. I love them and they're cool to be around, but I don't have really any common ground with either of my siblings.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that.
You know, it's part of life. You don't choose your
Yeah, I
family.
mean, no, and I mean, I guess like I mean, I just connect more with my brother just because we like more of the similar kind of music and all these other things.
See, that's all I was asking for. It's that simple.
No, but it's really like the parent. I'm like, I don't, I just, I don't want to answer that.
Why does it make you
It's,
uncomfortable?
I mean, it's complicated, and I have to think about a lot of things. I don't know, which a lot of things like I don't know if I want to talk about on here.
Well, you have much to think about on the heel of your bed or the side of your bed.
In the heel, I was like, what are you saying? This is not a good note to end on. We need to say something like
I
not
feel like
as
I unlocked some psychological trauma within you.
no, I mean I just kind of like all right, like dude, you were demanding. I was like, I
I
don't
was
know, like
demanding.
can I just like not know? Can
I
there
just
just
didn't
be
believe
some
that you
things I
don't know.
yeah, but I'm like can there just be things that I don't know? I don't know everything.
There totally can. I just didn't believe you.
Oh, all right. I don't really know why,
I
but
don't expect you to have an answer. I just didn't believe that you didn't have an answer.
all right. So, be ready for the next episode where Jason and I are going to talk about some Spanish music because I think it's about time I bring him back.
Instead of
Because
arguing, we're going to jerk each other off next time. Stay tuned.
well, if you like the music that much, all right. But
It's a date.
yeah, the well, okay. So you liked Mark Anthony? No, you didn't really like Mark
I did not
Anthony.
like Mark
Sorry.
Anthony. You were going to show
Right,
me
but
mariachi music that gave you goosebumps.
yeah. So I was thinking about that or bachata. I have to coin flip it, but um. The oh no, but Buena Vista Social Club you did like. I remember.
Yes, I did. That was good.
Not like particularly over other albums I showed you, but you were like that. Yeah, that was like I could put that on in like a and if I'm out in the club or something or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But like Mark Anthony was just like, eh.
Well, you said that wasn't a good representation of him, so if you
Yeah,
think
because
there
that
is more,
was
then I will listen.
yeah that was before I actually listened to his other stuff. He has some other albums that I think are better. And like they're much more sophisticated.
Well, we will see, won't we?
Yeah. But I also just I found a shit ton of artists who are way better than him. I mean, he's good, but
That
he's
does a
not
kind
like
of pop style.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, cuz the more you know it's like how when you first discover metal, right? Like your favorite band is just going to be like you know, like Metallica or Megadeth or whatever, you know. But then over time, you're like, oh, I didn't know this existed or that or you know, it's a similar kind of thing.
Yeah, I truly is my favorite thing about music is just discovering all this different shit that I've never heard before in my life.
Yeah, and then like the relationship between like this one as opposed to that one, and then it's like, wait, what is you know, how good is something in by itself? How good is it in comparison to another thing? It's cool.
Yeah, and I think I like that I have the ability to listen to other stuff that's not my wheelhouse and enjoy them. I'm glad I'm not that close minded when it comes to music. I try not to be oh
Yeah,
shit in every other aspect of my life, but music is the one where I feel like I'm the most open minded about.
they're only music that I'm just like, if I hear it, I'm just like, nah, sorry. Is like a lot of some I don't I don't dislike punk as much as you do, even though you You'd think I would though.
It
Um,
sounds more aggressive than how I truly feel. I really just like because I don't mind listening. Cause, like there's some punk songs that like I don't hate and I enjoy some of them, but I really it's more the people I can't say. I hate the culture. I think, but punk and culture is so intertwined with the music.
yeah, it's
So
hard to separate, right? Because that's
yeah,
part
it's
of the reason
so
why.
cringy, dude. I'm tired of political, fucking just dumb lyrics. I'm tired of it. It's the same shit. I hate it on both sides. Like I can't stand political lyrics anymore. It just serves no
Right.
purpose for anything.
That that's why I love all this Latin music because the lyrics are just like they're just so much simpler.
It's about how they fucked up with a girl. Like it's that simple,
Right. Exactly.
which
Exactly.
is
Whereas
relatable.
opposed to exactly, and it's like it's that's what makes it like much more, in my opinion, just generally appealing.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of this, like especially like some of this, and like I love prog metal, but some of this stuff, it's like is really like esoteric, and it's like, am I gonna expect like my grandma to like listen to this? No, but like my grandma can listen to Latin music, and she's like, oh, that sounds nice.
It'd be funny to play like flying whales for your grandma
Yeah, or it's like right, exactly.
or the heaviest
Bo-
matter of the universe.
boomers react to right. Um, but yeah, um, I gotta toss the. I gotta do a coin toss because I don't know because the bachata I have an entire album that I think would be good to listen to, but then the mariachi I would have to make like a mix, and I don't know which one I want to do. I'm like, do I want to break my album rule or do I want to cave to what Jason does and make a mix?
Just do what you want, man.
I'll figure it out. I know it's really not that big of a deal. Um, right. I'll figure it out, and I'll. But the thing is, it's easier to send an album because you could just find it on whatever. Because if I make it a playlist on Apple Music, then you'd have to like convert it all to.
No,
Well, no,
that's
it's
fine. I
actually
can
not
just listen to them on YouTube, looking at what it is. That's not
because
a
you can.
problem.
Okay. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
just realized I do the same thing, so I guess what
yeah.
doesn't really
That's
make
not
much
it.
of a difference.
I'm not
Yeah.
like a fucking like I need to click on the music and play. I can't do any other medium.
Like it needs to have like the same code, dude.
What is annoying is when people send me Spotify links and I can't play the fucking song they wanted me to listen to. That gets annoying.
Right. Yeah. All right.
Whew,
I think it's a
I feel hostile in this one. I got out some like unrepressed anger or something. I don't know. I was
yeah. It's
aggressive
just
today.
yeah, because I didn't know what I was like, bro. I don't know. Like I don't know. Can I just not know?
That felt good to unload on you. I feel great.
Right. But I don't. I don't know everything. Right. No matter how hard I try, I don't know everything.
I didn't even have a frustrating day. I don't know where this came from, Will.
I don't know. It's because it was something that I was not confident in. Is that why?
Yeah, the Andrew Tate in me just fucking glared laser beams. I'm God's
Right.
favorite.
Exactly. His accent is so jank because it's like it has
Yeah.
that tinge of like British, but like he's half like American.
Yeah,
Um,
that British American crossover is a weird fucking dialect.
it's like the Pittsburgh dude. That's the like, just, ugh.
Well,
But
he's
yeah,
in jail,
we
so
right. I remember that. So we can talk about Andrew Tate and some of his absolutely awful takes on life, which actually he has quite a bit of good ones, but some of the awful shit, I'm like, bro, like not even like most of the shit that like people that like disagree with about, like, oh, he's like misogynistic. I'm like that. I'm like, okay, whatever. But like the stuff more I'm talking about is just like his views on like religion and all that stuff. But that's I think we could just talk about that the next podcast.
the thing I'll end on with him is just I don't know why people took him so seriously. He's clearly a fucking con artist trying to sell you bullshit and trying to get as viral as possible. Like he had a team making YouTube and TikTok shorts. Like he was just a fucking one of those self-help guru MLM motherfuckers. Like, no, I'm not gonna spend $4,000 for your goddamn business advice. I don't give a shit.
Right. Exactly. And it's like he had a lot of good points to say about like male behavior. But at the end of the day, like he's very materialistic, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like right, because one thing is telling men that like you need to be like more masculine, right? And you need to like not be a whiny asshole, as opposed to like you need to own mansions and like Bugatti. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, and like you do definitely do not need to be polyamorous, right? And like his whole view about how like
I
men
don't think
shouldn't.
you can legally call him a polyamorous now. I'll just throw that out there.
No, I know. I'm just talking about what he was. I'm no, I know, but I'm talking about what he was preaching, and
No,
like
I know. Yeah,
right, and also his just like his awful take on like marriage and how he thinks it's just like it emasculates men. I'm like, how?
and this is part of
How?
my
Like
point
there's
about with
just
Andrew Tate. Like all the points he had where he wasn't defending himself were awful. And all the points that where he was defending himself from all the shitty left wing people just shitting on him were great because, like I said, those people have the shittiest takes on the planet. So of course it's low hanging fruit. So it's like, oh, this guy makes a lot of sense about this, blue haired bitch yelling at him. Like, oh, I believe him over her or they.
I
And it's just like
do,
no
but
shit because that's low hanging fruit. But then if he was talking about a subject that he wasn't defending himself on, it was just like, who the fuck listens to this? Why would you listen to this? It's not good advice.
no, it's not. It really isn't. Like this one thing, like it's obviously funny for him when he was like on Piers Morgan and shit, right? But
He made
then
Piers
there's not.
Morgan look like a jackass because anything he gets criticized for is stupid, like the racism, the misogyny, the danger to society, blah 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 blah. Like all that shit is so easy to defend, and he makes mainstream people look stupid. But then when he's on his own platform and spewing whatever bullshit, trying to sell you, yeah, material shit, sunglasses, cigars, Bugattis, watches, like it's just dumb. It's just
Right.
like
And I'm like,
only fucking like only like teenagers value this shit. Anybody in their 30s or 40s that still values this is going through a midlife crisis or they're just insecure.
exactly,
Like
bro.
fuck. No one values this that actually is interesting.
Right, but also like you'd agree like just a lot of the shit that he's preaching to young men is just it's not good. It's not good to tell men that you can just be polyamorous and you don't need to get married and like just the main goal of life is to just have a bunch of Bugattis and mansions. Like that's not the point of life,
Yeah, and
right?
my other thing too is just like I get that being more masculine or being more gentlemanly
Oh,
or trying to achieve goals, right?
yeah,
That's
sorry.
all well and good, building confidence, but your audience are incels and people that are not conventionally attractive, and you're telling them that if you have your values and your money, you can treat women however you want, and if you act this way, they'll just subconsciously and innately respect you. It's just like that's the worst advice I've ever. If somebody ugly walked up to a girl and tried to act like Andrew Tate, there would be no way he'd ever get a date.
No, right, because
Ever.
Andrew Tate, it's like it's the biggest example, but easy for you to say, you know.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, you can act like that, but your audience can't. All they're going
They
to do is
can't
make
pull that
themselves be
shit.
douchebags and more unattractive as a person. They're already ugly. Now they're going to be annoying. Like, you made them
Right.
worse. You have made them worse.
Exactly. Right, and like I said,
Fuck.
he has a lot like his points are good in the sense where he's like men should not act like women, right? And it's like, yeah, I agree with you.
Slow claps all around. Like, what the fuck does it even mean? Like, no, I don't get when people say that. It's just like, just do your shit. Don't fucking worry about acting like a man or a woman. Just be successful. Just work hard. Fucking do whatever you need to do. Don't
Well,
listen to
right,
these fucking people.
that's that's what he's saying is that like you need to have like as a man you need to have your like this is what I'm doing, right? Which is like what a lot of men like don't have now, right?
You don't have to
Um
say as a man. You can just say that as a fucking like that's what I'm saying. Like he targeted a very specific insecure part of the male population. That's like it's just so dumb.
that's a but that's a very like male characteristic though. Is like that strong ambition for like glory and like and all that kind of stuff.
You can take a
That's not,
woman and give her that same advice, and if she's actually good at doing something, will be successful. Like it doesn't. It's not a.
I know
That's why it's dumb.
I know that's the case in like some situations, but like generally speaking, like men have this kind of attitude and women don't. Like I said, I know that's not all every single case, but those are just exceptions, right?
I don't know. I wouldn't gender my audience. Even as a business standpoint, it doesn't even make sense. His whole goal was just to make money. He could give a shit about all this other stuff. He just wanted money and attention. And so he put himself in a box and he only had one audience member type, and his angle was the shit he said to get him controversy so both sides would be talking about him. He would have never gone to jail if he just wouldn't have fucking not done all the illegal shit that he was doing clearly. But also
Was
just
he
he
like
wouldn't.
was he sex trafficking or something?
Pretty much, there's a lot of people that came forward that said that he forced them to do the business under false pretenses, told them that they're gonna get married, forcing a fake relationship just so they can whore him out on a cam site. Like,
Wait, that's like literally what he would like make fun of other dudes for women doing it to them. So
dude,
like,
he
wait,
he did everything that he preached against. He told people he
yeah,
was
that
bald by
sucks.
choice. He's not. He's balding. Just like the pictures of him, not being able to get groomed in prison. Like his shit's patchy. Like he's a fucking fraud. And people bought that shit. They bought this ultra masculine man. And obviously, the dude was a UFC fighter, so like he's more masculine than most guys, I would say. But they fell for the like bad boy James Bond fucking stick that he had, and he made his money from other women. His whole thing about being a self-made man, like he made his money capitalizing. I'm not even capitalized. He made his money fucking stealing. Like it's tantamount to like Amazon in the way like they went to record high profits. They went to the number one company on the planet based off of exploitation. That's how Andrew Tate made his money. He would like if he did not do what he did, he would not be here today. He would not have the platform he has. He would not have as much money as he has. He got lucky and found a loophole until he got trouble for it and paid the price.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying though, that like he can say he's masculine all he wants. He can be a physically strong and tough guy
I
who
swear to
looks,
God, it's
but
an
it's like
insecurity. I swear to God.
right. So you see what I'm saying is that like he's at the end of the day, he's really not that masculine, and he's just all these stuff is just a distortion of it. It's a perverse distortion of like what actual masculinity is, right?
Yeah, and I don't really even give a shit, right? I feel like I'm at the point where if you're gonna get scammed by somebody, you need to learn that lesson, and hopefully you have learned. And if you're one of those idiots that bought his fucking course, good on you. I hope you
I didn't
learn.
even I didn't even know he made a course. Man.
All these guys do. Like these guys don't just stream out of the goodness of their heart or they want to enlighten the
No,
world. They want to fucking sell you some bullshit every
bro,
time. There's
just
not one person that like wants to enlighten you. They just want to sell you something.
just like go to church, pray. Like, why do
Don't
you need
listen to Andrew. Don't go to church.
right? Because I'm like, why are you so insistent that the church is really the person that's wrong and they're selling you on something? Oh yeah, I want to buy Andrew Tate thing. It's like, yeah,
Wasn't he really religious? Like him and his brother? Like I thought they really like they were highly spiritual.
he became Muslim.
Oh, is that what he did?
I mean, for shitty reasons, but
Probably because he likes the how they treat the women. He's like, I can keep them in line, and it's fucking okay.
that was a great impression of him. Um, but no, yeah, like at first I was like before I found out about all the stuff he did, like first I was like, I mean, he has some cool opinions. Some of his opinions I think really suck, but yeah, I mean, whatever. And over time, it's just like, okay, like you're like legitimately like a shitty person, dude. Like, and you're not doing anything good.
You know what's funny with me is just like anytime, and this is why I hate people on the left because they throw words around like racism and misogyny all the time. So anytime they say that about anything, I just don't even like it's just too many cry of wolf. But like with Andrew Tate, he clearly was a misogynist. Like, and I don't even say that. I'd never say that about a lot of people because I've met very few people in my life that were legitimately like that. But he was a legitimate one, and he tried to defend himself by saying, "Oh, I'm not like this," or "I treat my I treat the women in my life well, and clearly he doesn't legally, right?
Right. That's not a good look,
Or I
bro.
guess I should say allegedly because it's not been finalized yet, but they probably have enough evidence to convict him. So I don't imagine. I mean, I don't know how the system is like in European countries or Eastern European countries. I assume it's very shitty and corrupt, but regardless, they probably have enough evidence to convict him at least.
Yeah, I was like, why the fuck does he live in Romania? That makes like no sense.
So people were claiming it's because they have very loose sexual assault and rape laws. I don't know if that's the actual reason he moved there, but
I
that's what
don't
the
know.
rumors were circulating. I don't fucking know, but it would make sense for someone like him to move there because of that. Because in some flawed way, if he was doing something illegal, he thought he could get away with it by doing it in Romania. I don't know.
Right. Um.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like he's one of the few people that actually is like misogynistic, even though he doesn't claim to be. But I feel like he actually is. And it's cringy for me to even say that because of how dumb and like polarizing that statement is, but I think in his case it actually is true.
No, but right, because it's like he just literally he distorts like it's just a perverse distortion of like well not just masculinity like you said, but also like yeah, like about how you should treat women and all this stuff. It's like,
It's not
like he
even
just
like
makes it
his
right,
views
but
on how to
he
treat
makes
women come
it
from some flawed traditional valued logic. It's like there's so many different types of people. Like you're not going to be able to be successful with any type of woman by acting that way. It's just not even statistically possible.
no, but it's just the problem is not that it's traditional and it's like but it's the problem is just that it's like a watered down version of like what it actually is because he doesn't truly understand why that was the case, like why they did all these things back in the day. Because it's like the only, I don't know if I want to go there, but what was I gonna say? Like he had some good points though about like I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on some things, like how he was like, bro, like people that work in roofing or like work in a mine or like a bunch of these like super like dangerous construction jobs, like they're not waking up thinking how can I go oppress women? Like that's they're like literally thinking like, hey, how can I go like provide for women,
Yeah.
right? And I'm
Provide is
like,
a
okay,
very interesting coin though because in his case it's like, I can give a woman any type of life she wants. I can bring her around the country. I can buy her all the shits. It's like to me it just sounds like you're bribing her. Like
because
you wouldn't get this
he
girl if you
has
didn't have
the
the money.
well, right, but that's the problem is because he doesn't actually have the traditional view of like he just has the watered down version, so he doesn't actually fully understand that like the people that are doing that because like they're married and they're trying to provide for their families, but he doesn't do that because he insists that men shouldn't get married, which is like the worst idea ever, right? Um,
His reasoning, yeah, I agree.
yeah. What? Wait, with you agree with me or him?
I agree with you and his view of why men shouldn't get married. It's not good advice, but I think marriage in the legal context is very scary, and it's not a decision that should be forced upon everyone. So I feel like
It's
until some
not.
laws change, then I don't know. Marriage is, I
No,
think,
but no.
not the not
That's
your view of
not.
marriage. I'm saying like the government's view of marriage.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The government thing, that's not even what he's talking about. Like he's not I nor him are talking about legal marriage. He's just talking about the literally just the concept of like a monogamous relationship
No, I agree with
with
you
children.
about him having shitty advice about that. I'm just saying I don't agree with the whole you should be married thing because of legal reasons, but I agree with you about him.
All right. So you can see like the whole legal thing, I probably would agree with you on that. But that was just like out of the question cuz I was like, dude, like staying with like one woman and having kids is not doesn't make you less manly. Like it doesn't like I'm like if that's your view of what manliness is, that is like the most it's the most childish, petty, like I don't know what other adjectives I could use to just describe how immature that is.
Yeah,
Like
and I think I remember
it
watching.
literally like some of the stuff. Sorry to cut you. Like it just sounds like
You're
it's
good.
coming from like a 16-year-old. Like you said, like it just you can tell he's just aiming this at like those kind of people.
Yeah, and to kind of go off of what you're saying, I feel like I've watched him talk about that because there was a time where I was like I was really interested in what he had to say because there's a lot of people that were just instantly wanting to ban him. So I was like, there had to be something of substance that people were this angry about, right? So I was checking it
Right.
out, and he was talking, and I this is very I'm not even paraphrasing. I'm just totally making up what he said because it's been a long time and there was a lot of different things that he said, but the general context was he was talking about marriage and he was like, if you're one of those guys that you date one woman and then you have kids and then you stay with her for the rest of your life, that's fine, that's your preference, I just aspire for more or something along those lines, like that I'm not content, like it's something where he's chosen or he's fated to be better and more successful. It's just like, why does it have to constitute marrying some, like why can't you do that in other aspects of life? Why does fucking around with random girls all the time a better solution than you finding one person you actually love? Like, you can be
Exactly.
polyamorous and you
Right.
can
Like
do all that shit if that makes you happy truly. Fine, I don't care. But like, I don't get why you have this innate feeling to aspire to be more. Like, that doesn't mean anything. You either are successful or you're not. Fucking with different people in your life does not make you more successful than finding one stable relationship. I never got that parallel.
right, because it's like, well, like you said, the question of like the polygamy, like what that's out of the question, right? But it's like, why do you feel the need exactly to just ridicule someone who like just that's their one person? Like why? And it's even so like that doesn't mean you can't be successful and have a monogamous relationship with a bunch of kids, right? Because it's just a matter of what you spend your money on, right? Because Andrew Tate could perfectly well be with one woman with children. It's just he
He
just
could
doesn't
find the
feel like
hottest. Yeah, it's like he could find
right.
the
He
hottest
could
girl
be
on
with
the planet and be
anyone.
with her for the rest of his life until his money ran out. Then that's a different story. How long would your relationships last if you didn't have money? That's what I want to know.
Exactly, because that's the thing is if he doesn't have money, there's no relationship, right?
Yeah, it's like you can date the hottest girl in the world with your money. And I admit, if you're an ugly guy, I've seen people pull really hot girls if they have a good personality, they're funny, or they have that kind of confidence that some girls do find attractive. So in that respect, I agree with his dedication to hard work and the motivation and the inspiration that it gives people, but it's just
That is
under
good.
false pretenses. It really is.
Right, like it's good in principle per se, but the right, just
Like his demeanor is the same as every other fucking self-help guru. It's just it's he's exaggerating, embellishing. It's clearly fucking meant to just sell your insecurities. Like, I'm just not interested.
yeah. No, I mean it was really just that stuff he said about like marriage. I'm like, dude, like it's just he's just accentuating all of this stuff about our culture now. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. These ideas, like
His brother is even worse because he's just living off of the coattails of Andrew's fame, and
that's like
he's more
every
annoying to me
brother
because he
famous
seems
person.
he's more he's what?
That's like every sibling of like a famous person though.
Yeah, exactly. He's like a Baldwin or something.
Right, because they just like
He's
I
10
don't
times more
like,
stubborn too. It's really fucking irritating.
right, and
He's
he
such an
sent
exhausting
this.
character to listen to.
He tweeted he was like, I've got all of these letters from Muslims or whatever in jail, and it's like not a single Christian has sent me a letter. And it's like okay, and like
He's like, if you converted to Islam, that's not your intended audience now.
right, and
It's
also
like,
it's
what do you
like
expect?
may right, and it's also like maybe Christians after you get arrested after some shit like you know sex trafficking, maybe they feel uncomfortable and are like, yeah, I don't know.
It's not even sex trafficking. It's sex trafficking, tax fraud, false imprisonment. Like, it's a slew of. And let me make this clear. I don't give a fuck about tax fraud. I wish if I had the aptitude to steal as much money from the government as humanly possible, but they will fucking get you. You can kill somebody and get away with it. It's probably easier to do that than take the government will come for their fucking money.
Right.
Unless you pay off Congress, you're not going anywhere but prison.
Exactly. So I'm like, why do you just feel the need to just insinuate that whole like like just Christianity bad thing. It's annoying.
Well, he's in jail, so who cares?
Right, so now we don't have to give a shit about him anymore. I'm
Yeah.
kind of glad. Yeah.
Get fucked, man. If you actually did what they're saying you did, get fucked.
Right. I know. I'm kind of glad because I could not stand like seeing his stuff like all on like my feet. I'm like, okay, stop, go away. Like,
It's literally like every YouTube clip, and it sucks because I've searched him a couple times to hear what he said, and now that was like my whole YouTube feed. It's like that's so irritating.
right. Oh, another good take he had was like on why he believes in God. I thought it was pretty cool. Did you hear what he said about that?
Oh, I thought you cut out. No, what did he say?
He said like he kind of like looked at the Newton's laws of motion, right? And so like the first law was like 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 an object in motion will stay in motion, an object in rest will stay in rest unless like an equal or opposite force acts upon it, right? So he's like just alone based on like the laws of motion that are like in nature, right? So like if there's evil, right, there has to be an opposite or equal force to combat that, right? That stops it from moving, right? And what is that? And then the person was like, "Oh shit." Now, but I was like, "Man, I actually that's good theology." I'm like come yeah, I mean coming from Andrew Tate, like I didn't really expect him of all people, right, to say that good of theology, but like, no, that's good
See,
theology.
this is what's very irritating to me, and I like when I for sitting here and talking about him for the last 15 minutes or whatever. Like I'm only harsh about it is because I'm tired of giving people ammo. I'm tired of like shitty ideologies having ammo, and he was like the number one target for every reason in the book. Right? It was like the whole Trump thing. Like I got tired of hearing about Trump and how shitty he was. It got old. I didn't fucking vote, so like I had no skin in the game. It just got old hearing about it every goddamn day. Anytime he took a shit wrong, it was just so stupid. But
Yeah, right.
for
I'm
him,
like,
it's yeah, for him it's frustrating because he's clearly intelligent and he's clearly very quick witted and he's good at making up shit on the spot and he's very entertaining. And I think that's the one thing I actually really enjoy about Andrew Tate. I like when he gets a rise out of people. He's very entertaining. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed him trolling and going through his life and watching it the way that I did. He was a very entertaining guy. It was wasted though,
it
which is
was.
very disappointing.
Mhm.
It's like I just want to see people like him do better. If you're intelligent and you're quick-witted, do not waste it. Please.
Yeah. Please no. Not a good look, bro.
I feel like he knew it was bullshit just by the way he said it. His false like mob boss inflection, like you clearly could tell he didn't believe the fucking shit he said. He just faked his conviction very extremely.
Yeah.
To a point where it's like, if you're sitting in a dark room with a cigar and sunglasses, I'm not going to take what you say seriously. I'm sorry. You may have
Yeah.
good points, but I don't think you believe it yourself. It's all a fucking image. It's entertaining, but it's not real.
Right. Yeah. It's looking like oh shit. I need to go to bed.
Damn, 11:20.
Yeah. More deliveries tomorrow.
Have fun training DC in the morning.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. All right. This was a good one.
I will be less hostile on the next one, I promise.
No, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. All right.
All right,
I'll let you know about that recommendation. Good night.
night.
Yep.